thing, or is this a Ted Cruz thing? And his moment is not just going to be in Iowa. He potentially has the straightest path to the nomination of any of the candidates. Put that out there. 312-642-5600 is the turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line. But here's what Bob Vanderplatz had to say in terms of why he and other social conservative leaders decided to throw in with Cruz.
We just believe Ted Cruz has been consistent in his character, with his principles, his conservative convictions. He's built one heck of an infrastructure here in Iowa, and I believe the early states. And I really believe he has what it takes to go the distance, and he can be an effective standard bearer for us. So which was not an easy choice, because a lot of friends in the race, it quickly became a very obvious choice that this is a candidate that conservatives can unite around and get to be our nominee.
But do you think this is going to stick?
I do.
Because, of course, Donald Trump doesn't. I mean,
well,
yes,
right.
On Friday, he was at a town hall meeting in Des Moines and just started attacking Ted Cruz on the strangest of things, saying that he's not truly an evangelical.
But so I think we're going to do, we're doing really well with the evangelicals. And by the way, and again, I do like Ted Cruz, but not a lot of evangelicals come out of Cuba, in all fairness. It's true. Not a lot come out. But I like him nevertheless. But I think we're going to do great, and we are doing great with evangelicals.
Trump can't handle being in second place.
So even if he was an evangelical, came out of Cuba, he's point of order. He's an American citizen.
Right.
But even if
born in Canada, his dad was from Cuba.
Even if he was, I
dots?
like him nevertheless. It's odd. I mean, it's very much like Trump when Carson moved up. A Seventh-day Adventist. What's that? I don't know what that is.
I mean, I'm just saying I don't know. What is it?
It's bizarre. Trump was able to get his head around him and maybe consult with Ivanka, who can speak in kind of complete, coherent thoughts. And his sights are clearly on Cruz, and his sights are going to be on Cruz tomorrow night at the debate.
Yeah, they're going to be standing next to each other.
CNN debate tomorrow night. It's actually going to be broadcast live on these airwaves starting at 5:30. Remember, you've still got the undercard with Huckabee. Who's left? Huckabee, Pataki, Santorum, and there's a fourth.
Chris Christie?
No,
he
he's
was
on the main
undercard.
stage.
He made main
Rand
stage?
Paul's on the main stage. And Lindsey Graham, of
Lindsey
course.
Graham.
How could I forget Lindsey Graham?
The Southern.
It's so important in this race. So we'll have the debate live. Only station in Chicago will have the debate live, so you can listen here as you're traveling around. But
And
Trump,
you said we are having the undercard?
yeah,
too? Okay,
yeah, it starts
doing
at
both.
5:30.
Got it.
And so then Trump went from some of those kind of bizarre, extemporaneous,
Yes.
derisive comments. I don't know. I didn't even know how to characterize them exactly. But then when he was on the Sunday talk shows, he got it together a little bit and made this claim in comparing himself to Ted Cruz.
Look, I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
Forget the
Wow.
forget the hilarity of Donald Trump commenting on someone else's temperament for just a minute, and let's listen to the rest of Trump, including what Cruz has or has not done in the Senate. This is where Trump develops this temperament issue. It's interesting.
What's wrong with this temperament?
Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way. Look, I built a phenomenal business. I'm worth many, many billions of dollars. I have some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world. You can't walk into the Senate and scream and call people liars and not be able to cajole and get along with people. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
That's all Donald Trump does is scream and yell at people and call them liars and
Well, right. I mean,
breaks them down. Not in the floor of the Senate, but still.
right. If he was a senator, do you
he
think
was.
how different do you think Donald Trump would be in terms of
Oh my gosh.
in terms of using ad hominem from time to time that Ted Cruz? I mean, I think Ted Cruz is actually fairly restrained. I don't see him using ad hominem a whole lot. And in point of fact, the problem with Ted Cruz in the Senate has a lot more to do with the Senate than it does Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump it's an interesting approach. I'm a guy who gets things done. That's how I built this multi-billion-dollar empire. Ted Cruz didn't, because he's in the Senate where it's very difficult to get anything done, particularly under the leadership of Mitch McConnell, particularly with President Obama in the White House. And he has taken stands where he should take stands.
Yeah, he pushed for a government shutdown to fight Obamacare. I don't fault him for that. That's a badge of honor.
Just for example. And so the question is, if Donald Trump wants somebody that's not part of the Beltway, and he's that guy, of course, I mean, wouldn't Ted Cruz, as someone who is inside the Beltway, be as close to that as possible? It's not a bad effort to distinguish himself from Cruz, because what else is he going to do?
Yeah.
Where else does he go other than here's a guy who and this
He's
by the way,
winning debater at Princeton and at Harvard.
Well,
I mean, he's tried 9 cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, he's an educated man. He's the smartest man running for president.
There's no question about that.
Yeah.
No, it's not even close. But here's the thing that Trump seized on. Why do, I started out this campaign, I want a governor, particularly a Midwest governor. I want somebody with the executive experience who's got a model in their state that we could scale or should scale nationally. Where in the Senate, and this is why traditionally, up until recently, senators don't do so well in presidential races because they don't have an executive record. The Senate is the old cliche used to be, where your political career goes to die. You just speechify. You don't really do anything. And so Ted Cruz doesn't have the record, frankly, that a Scott Walker does. And so I think Trump is seizing on that. Look, I built something by bringing people together, even if we didn't agree. And Ted Cruz is in the Senate where, you know what those senators do, they just talk. It's interesting. Tom and Schomburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In the final analysis, what do you want your next president to do? I want him to pull this country back to the right. I've seen it go to the left for 8 years under Clinton. I've seen it go nowhere. We've recovered none of that ground under Bush. We've gone even harder to the left under Obama. I want a guy that doesn't give a damn what the media says about him or what any liberal says about him, that just takes and pulls this country back to the right where it belongs. And Ted Cruz won't do that.
You don't think Ted Cruz will do that? You think Ted Cruz will wilt?
No, I don't think he will wilt. I just think Donald Trump would be better at it because it's not in Ted Cruz's DNA. It's not in the DNA of any of these politicians because, they just don't want to do that. They want to be liked. They want to get along. They want to be invited to the next party. That's not Donald Trump. He'll do it because he doesn't care what anybody says about him.
Thanks for the call, Tom.
He'll throw the party.
Yeah, well, that's right. And the media won't be invited.
No.
Randy in Crown Point.
Morning, guys. I don't necessarily disagree with what Trump is saying about Cruz, whereas I don't believe that it's a bad thing that Cruz is very, very confrontational in the Senate. But here's the deal with Donald Trump. I don't think he does this. This thing going on right now, I don't think this is what goes on in the boardroom. And I would say that because I know a lot of people. I work for one of the big companies in the world and a publicly traded company, and the reality is that's not what goes on in boardrooms. I don't think Donald Trump goes into the boardroom or goes into the business meeting and does what he is doing on the campaign trail. Donald Trump, on the campaign trail, Donald Trump is doing what he has to do to get people to look at him. What do you think gets people elected? Getting noticed, getting recognized, getting people's attention. And he is doing that. It is amazing what is going on with this man because he is a carnival barker right now. And carnival barkers, if you ever watched, they have millions of people or thousands of people standing in front of them watching them. That's what he does.
Okay, thanks for the call, Randy. We got to go. I mean, look, I agree with that. There's a couple ways to get noticed. You could get noticed because you're providing interesting ideas. You could get noticed because you're lighting yourself on fire. Those are very different approaches. One person, by the way, who thinks Ted Cruz is going to be the nominee, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, at a fundraiser for 90 Democrat donors in Berkeley on Thursday night. Podesta, handicapping the race for them, said it's Cruz, Trump, and Rubio in that order in terms of likely GOP nominee.
Believe me.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So warm out, Dan. I actually turned on my AC in my car on the way to work today.
I didn't know you had AC in your car.
I do. I just don't have heat. And it's warm right now, 58 degrees, but the temperature is going to be falling throughout the day to the mid-40s. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 39 degrees, and tomorrow, partly sunny, cooler, a high of 44. Let's get the travel times and say good Monday morning to Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. South Side, there's still some fire activity, 119th and Perry. On the Adams Tollway westbound, traffic is slow. Due to a crash past Meacham, 2 right lanes are blocked. You've got a significant delay now approaching on that westbound side of the Adams Tollway. Inbound Ryan now got a 3-minute delay from 18th into downtown Bishop Ford. About a 1 or 2 minute delay approaching Merge. Flight forwards at O'Hare and Midway, despite the conditions, show almost no delays. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what Amy did and call David Hochberg. Harry unexpectedly came home from lunch and was surprised to find the personal trainer's van in the driveway because his wife was working out in the morning.
She was stretching it out.
Oh, boy.
Oh, do go on. Yes. Then what happened?
Walking the line. Harry heard noises in the basement
Oh, my God. Stop.
and went downstairs to let his wife know that he was home and found Debbie and the personal trainer in a compromising situation. On his way up the stairs, who has better stories than David Hochberg? On his way up the stairs, Harry contacted a divorce attorney who recommended he call David to discuss refinancing the home into his name and removing Debbie from the title when the divorce was final. If you're a divorce attorney looking for an outstanding lender to refer your clients or a homeowner that got caught cheating on their spouse and want to learn about your refinancing options, call David 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. David's helped Amy and Harry and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call 312-751-1333. You can also visit him online, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358, NMLS 19186.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
This is Amy Jacobson. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time. 800-489-0201 or online at mypillow.com. Promo code Amy. 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening?
We're almost there. AM 560, The Answer, has teamed up once again with Feed the Children. Our goal is to feed 18,000 kids in and around the Chicagoland area, people that didn't expect to have hard times this holiday season, whether it's a job loss, maybe a divorce. So a lot of people
Call David Hochberg, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Do that first. But a lot of people have to rely on food pantries to help them get by in between paychecks. And I know because I've been there. It's a horrible situation, but thank God that there's places like food pantries to help us when we're in need. So we're asking for a one-time donation of $76. That will feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. To do that, call 866-435-2248. I donate every year. I made a donation on behalf of Dan Proft last week.
With Dan Proft's money. Thank you for that. Yeah.
866-435-2248. We're asking for $76, but if you could give 20, 10, whatever you can give this holiday season would be much appreciated.
So that's one way to participate. Another way to help those in need this holiday season, and Amy made an important point. It's not just people kind of that are long-term underprivileged. It's also people that have an event in their life that puts them in a tough situation. These are people that Feed the Children helps as well. So we have a special program for business owners or anyone involved with marketing a business. That's our Business Benefactor Program. And with this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children receives 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on these airwaves. So you want to get involved in that program? Simple. All you do is call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. The number again, 847-871-1527. Michael Mann. Just ask him about the Business Benefactor Program. He'll get you signed up. Or you can text the word FEED to our turnkey.pro text line, the same one we use for the show. 64636. Just text the word FEED and you'll be prompted to sign up.
And really, if you're a small business owner, if you do the marketing for your company, you're going to want to try and take advantage of this. Slots are filling up quickly, so do it sooner rather than later. Viking Ski Shop signed up. My friends over there, I love that place. Lockport Steel Fabricators, LLC.
Heel and Heel Insurance.
Yeah, Heel and Heel Insurance. The list goes on and on and on.
Wait. Oh, also, too, Heartstrings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Heartstrings is a business benefactor, too, but because you were touting your necklace all the time from Heartstrings, I complained. I said, well, where's mine? And they made me one. Look at this.
Let me see.
It's cool. They've got like a little elephant in there, and they've got the primer of a Winchester .45 caliber bullet. It's pretty cool. It really is. It's actually, they did a really nice job. It's very fun.
Oh, that's great. So if you want to be a business benefactor, too, like Heartstrings, call Michael Mann right now, 847-871-1527, and we thank you in advance for your much-needed generosity.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I just took Balance of Nature for the first time. You guys are awesome. God bless you.
I have CIDP. It's helped me with my balance. It's helped clear up my skin condition.
I honestly did notice a difference. That's why I reordered it.
I feel good. I really just feel good. Everything has changed. I just feel so much better.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this product works. It's helped me as far as my overall health. I even recommended it to my mother, and she's been taking it, and she's 89 years old.
Get started early on your New Year's resolution with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners. It's a name that you have come to know and trust. Turnkey IT takes care of your technology and has a plan that fits your company's IT budget and network needs. Interested in moving some or all of your business to the cloud? Turnkey IT can migrate your network to Microsoft Office 365. Need someone to call when you can't print, have a lost file, or need tech support? Turnkey IT's got you covered. Offsite backup? Check. On-site support? Check. Help desk support? Check. Turnkey IT staff is professional, friendly, punctual, and will solve all of your technical problems immediately and work even after normal business hours, all for a fixed monthly rate. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Secretary of State John Kerry said over the weekend that we know who's coming into our country, for the most part. How big is the part we don't know, Secretary Kerry? We'll have that at 5:35.
And later on in the show, you're not going to want to miss it. Diamond and Silk will be here. You know, they finally met Sir Donald Trump. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Clouds and 56 degrees. Winds are gusty out of the south at 16. The president opens a week-long drive to try and explain his strategy for stopping the Islamic State group abroad and its sympathizers here at home. The president traveling to the Pentagon today for a rare National Security Council meeting outside the White House. Police and the FBI are investigating vandalism at two mosques in Hawthorne, California, as possible hate crimes. A third winter-like storm in a week, an El Nino storm bringing rain and strong winds to much of drought-stricken Northern California and heavy snow to the Sierra Nevadas. Sheets of pouring rain made for treacherous driving. Thousands of residents evacuated as a typhoon lashes the eastern Philippines, where flood and landslide-prone communities are bracing for continued destructive winds and waves up to 13 feet tall. Donald Trump on the attack this morning, following the sudden leap of GOP rival Ted Cruz into the lead in recent Iowa polling.
You look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way.
Fox News Sunday, Trump criticizing Cruz's record in the Senate. Closing argument set for later today in the manslaughter trial of a Baltimore police officer charged in the death of Freddie Gray. Meantime, community leaders are speaking out. Dr. Sheridan Yeary with the Douglas Memorial Community Church says something needs to be addressed to avoid possible dangerous protests.
The goal is not to use violence as a tactic. It is to acknowledge that very often the violence is a response to a deeply unaddressed pain.
Defense resting its case Friday after calling Porter's mother to the stand. A Cook County judge here is expected to rule today in the case of a Chicago police commander accused of brutality. Glenn Evans, according to prosecutors, placed his gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. And the leader of the College of DuPage Board of Trustees has resigned, citing only personal reasons for her abrupt departure. Chicago sports, Bears fall to Washington 24-21. Blackhawks over Vancouver 4-0. College basketball wins for Illinois State, Northwestern, and Notre Dame. The news, a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. 5:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher isn't so sure the president's strategy in ISIS will work.
Isn't it reasonable that if somebody's on the no-fly list, they shouldn't be allowed to buy a gun? That's the kind of stuff that's going to defeat ISIS, isn't it? Now, that's what I call prioritizing. Holy cow. Lord help us.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Remodel your kitchen or bath with Galaxy and get free installation, free design, and free financing. Call Galaxy at 773-783-8300 or schedule online at galaxyhome.com.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Christmas is coming fast. Last-minute gifts are hard to find. So, guys, here it is. Put your love in a locket with Heartstrings customized lockets. It's super cool, a glass locket that opens to charms inside. Birthstones, initials, hobbies, sports. It's completely up to you. I've got birthstones in mind for my kids and a little microphone for the radio. It's something unique that captures her story in a locket. It's a home run Christmas gift, or ladies, make one for yourself. Choose from over 900 unique charms. Go to one of 4 Heartstrings kiosks at Orland Square Mall and Yorktown Center, Lower Level Center Court, or Gurney Mills and Fox Valley Mall near Macy's. A locket specialist will be right there with you every step of the way. A Heartstring customized locket. She wants it. Get it for her. Find them at Orland Square Mall, Yorktown Center, Fox Valley, or Gurney Mills, or online at yourheartstring.com. That's YOUR heartstring.com. Mention the promo code Amy and get a free charm.
5:36 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the very latest this morning. It's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Adams Tollway westbound I-90, traffic is stop and go from 53 to Meacham with a crash, which has now moved to the right shoulder. Eastbound traffic is still moving well, but at O'Hare, it's heavy now on westbound 190 from before River Road to the terminal area at the airport, where we see very few flight delays this morning. Midway also looking great. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little heavy past Manheim. Inbound Stevenson, it's a 1 or 2 minute delay starting at Pulaski. The Ryan has a 3-minute delay from 18th to downtown. The Bishop Ford, a 4-minute delay, 115th to the merge. Traffic, service of Massage Envy. Because of holiday traffic, whatever the reason, Massage Envy can help you manage the side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care. Get a free massage or facial service with a minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, breezy, showers around, mainly early this morning. high of 58, and then temperatures drop throughout the day. Cloudy, 39 overnight, and only a high of 44 tomorrow. 56 degrees at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Property Tax Show, Saturdays at 6 p.m., hosted by Brad Hayes, Chicagoland's property tax expert.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Amy, over the weekend, well, you were busy putting your face paint on for the Bears-Redskins game.
That's right. I wore my Robbie Gold jersey, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw somebody in front of me with
Jinx.
a Tank Johnson jersey. I'm like, wow, that's kicking it old school.
No, was the person in front of you wearing the Tank Johnson jersey, did he or she abide my rules for wearing a jersey, which the first rule is don't wear one.
Right. Well, but everyone has one.
And then the rules follow from there. For example, because I saw this, I was actually at a bar in Charleston, a Redskins bar, watching the Bears game in Charleston, South Carolina.
Last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where every time the Redskins scored, the entire bar sang the Redskins fight song.
Oh.
It was one of those
Well,
places.
see, they're tied in their division. The Redskins
They're
are.
in
So it's
first
very
place,
important.
actually.
Now they're in first. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was important that they won the game. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, what I said to the person in front of me was those jerseys do come in bigger sizes.
Oh, see, so this is one of my rules, right? Which
Because
is
that thing that thing that men are so good at forming, that, the pot belly or whatever
Yeah.
you call it. Yeah.
Good
It was
sandwiches.
really, the skin was hanging out underneath the jersey. I know it was warm outside. So, no one had their coats on. All the jerseys were,
well, so that
full force, but you could see his skin, and it was.
well, it sounds like
I don't need to see that.
Sounds like he was trying to not violate one of my rules with respect to wearing jerseys, which is you cannot wear a jersey bigger than the actual player's jersey. So if your Tank Johnson jersey is bigger than Tank Johnson's Tank Johnson jersey, you can't wear it.
So wait a minute. You were in Charleston, South Carolina yesterday afternoon?
Yeah.
And you can't, do you fly in privately?
It's no. I flew privately. Southwest Airlines is privately held. Well, it's actually a public company.
Public company.
Yes, but yes, it's a private company.
Oh,
publicly
okay.
traded. But yes, so yeah, I was in Charleston for a little excursion, but I got back late last night because didn't want to miss the show.
Right.
Heavens
forbid if that
No.
job thing gets in the way of your social life.
That's really.
I mean, really.
But there was a big kind of social meetup type of get together with a bunch of left wing cranks in Paris for the last couple of weeks, and it culminated in
This big news, breaking
yeah.
news. And I was wondering what is going on, and then I started watching and went, oh.
What are you talking about? Major leap for mankind.
Yeah.
It's hailed as. So here's what we'll talk about Paris, I guess, with some of our guests. I mean, but
Well, what does it mean, though? I mean, all I could
No,
get
not
out of
much.
it was that it's going to start being implemented in 2020. No time like the present.
Here, can I try and sum it in one sentence for you?
Please.
A historic agreement, not a treaty, because that would require Congress, in Paris to transfer your money to developing nations in exchange for reporting requirements enforced through shaming to address an existential threat that doesn't exist, so President Obama can continue to ignore the one that does.
Nice.
That's my one-sentence explanation of the Paris deal.
Is that a run-on sentence?
It's a bit of a run-on sentence, but I had to get it to one.
Yes.
So that's what it was. I mean, it's exactly what Patrick Moore told us it would be. Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace, previewing this. He was out at the Paris conference. He basically said, look, this is going to be another, document that's going to be predicated on voluntarism, but it's going to be hailed as something transformational. We've all saved the world.
Well, are any of my tax dollars going to this
Yeah,
feel-good treaty or agreement?
$100 billion to developing nations.
$100 billion?
Yeah, well, where do you think
Yeah.
that's going to come from? Us. Maybe Merkel will kick in a few francs. But for the most part, it's going to be, the first world wealth transfer to the developing world. That's what President Obama and other globalists like our president want to do.
Who didn't vote for the climate pledge? I mean, was there one country being represented there that said, nah, we're all right?
Mm,
Everyone voted for it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like a vote by acclamation. But here's the thing. John Kerry was on all the Sunday shows. He was taped because it was late in Paris, but he was on all the Sunday shows talking about this. But there was a moment in his interview with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press where he was asked about what about global terror? And what about the story about Malik, the female terrorist murderer in San Bernardino? She passed 3 visa screenings despite the fact that she was posting jihadi messages on her Facebook page prior to being approved for the visa.
That's why Chuck Schumer wants a new government agency that just
focuses... Oh, finally.
No, listen, just focuses on social media.
Yeah.
And anyone applying for a visa or people who have visas, which is tens of thousands, so they want an agency to look at everyone's Facebook page and Twitter account and Pinterest and on Instagram and all that, and to make sure they're not jihadists.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I like the normal 2-step process. Let's get a impanel a blue ribbon commission that leads to a big government agency that then is doing things redundant to other government agencies, and the agencies doing the same things aren't communicating. That's how I like my government. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've gotten used to. So I hate to see that paradigm shifted at all. But so this was an issue, and Kerry said, "Oh, that's why we've called for a review of the policies and procedures, blah blah blah." And he said to Chuck Todd, essentially, "Rest assured, Chuck Todd," and I'm quoting him here, "we know who is coming into our country for the most part." For the most part. Well, how big is the part that you don't know, Secretary Kerry? I think that's the issue. Boy. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the global warming or global climate change conference. What the Republicans, I would suggest that they do is go along with Obama and say, yeah, this is a great deal and it's for the future, because the liberal media is going to attack them anyway if they speak logically against the deal. And there's no teeth to the deal anyway. And the only ones that are probably going to follow it are probably the U.S. and Canada. And, of course, the countries that are going to be receiving money from us, because they're worried about their beaches and so forth. So the Republicans should just go along with it, and then come election time, hopefully they'll get in office and just rip the things to shreds like it should be.
Thanks for the call, Ed. No, I don't like going along with things you know to be untrue. That's a bad place. It's not a place you want to be. I think you fight this every step of the way, and you continue to try and debunk the propaganda coming from the junk science crowd, including our junk science president. Here's something, though, on the immigration issue, because this is really the issue. And frankly, this is President Obama. Listen to what President Obama said yesterday about the climate change conference and this historic deal and blah, blah. We met the moment and all this. But this is what this really is. Listen to what President Obama has to say.
Today, the American people can be proud because this historic agreement is a tribute to American leadership. Over the past 7 years, we've transformed the United States into the global leader in fighting climate change.
See, because he hasn't led on any other issue that actually relates to America standing in the world, as well as the state of human affairs globally, this is his opportunity to say, look, I'm a leader. I'm a leader because there's no consequence to it. It's an imaginary enemy. And to the extent, even if some of this were true, it's something that no one is going to face for decades and decades and decades. So it's a safe space for him. It's a safe space for him to pretend to be a leader. That's a big part of what this is about. But in addition to that, this is interesting on the immigration front. Larry Kudlow, you know Larry Kudlow, Kudlow Report, used to be on CNBC, still a contributor, free market guy, supply sider, pretty strong conservative. On immigration, he's like a lot of free market types. He's generally pro-immigration. That's why this column he wrote in National Review is so important. Seal the borders, stop visas. Larry Kudlow. A hardline shift from an immigration reformer. I know this is not my usual position, but this is war. Therefore, I have come to believe there should be no immigration or visa waivers until the U.S. adopts a completely new system to stop radical Islamic terrorists from entering the country, a wartime lockdown, and a big change in my thinking. That is, I've talked to Larry myriad times over the years. and particularly about immigration during the whole debate about immigration reform, path to citizenship. He's very much pro-immigration. This is a seismic shift in his position. And it's interesting, as a Wall Street guy, for him to make this stand. It's going to be very interesting to see how that's received. A really interesting piece, and I'd suggest you check it out. Greg in Schaumburg.
I want to talk about the visas. True or false? Since 2009, does the K-1 fiance visa require a personal interview? The answer is no. It's all online.
Right. You have to answer questions like, are you now or have you ever been a terrorist?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Greg. It's a good point.
There are 35,000 K-1 fiance visas every year that they allow. So they're going to have to change the system. And Kudlow's idea, I understand it, but can that be implemented? Or is that against the Constitution?
Well, it's not unconstitutional. Is there the political will to implement it? No, because how many people are willing to stand up to the you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a hater, that are not American values, blah, blah, blah. Very few. I mean, I think Kudlow has credentials on this issue to take the position he's taking, coming from a place not of anti-immigration whatsoever, coming from a place of, frankly, this regime is not serious about our safety. And until we have a president that is, and systems in place to properly vet, then we should shut it down, because we know who's coming into this country for the most part. Obviously, it doesn't take too much of the part that we don't know to expose us to attacks like happened in San Bernardino, and that's essentially Kudlow's point.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Unseasonably warm right now, 58 degrees when you step outside the door, but temperatures are going to be falling throughout the day, and the showers will be tapering off as well. Mid-afternoon, we'll have highs in the mid-40s. Tonight, into the 30s we go, and tomorrow, partly sunny, cooler, a high of 44. Let's get the travel times on these slick roadways creating any tie-ups. Here's Jim Telemonte with that answer.
Thanks, Amy. It is wet, so allow some following distance. We have no delays to report on the inbound Kennedy, but outbound it's getting heavy with passengers heading to O'Hare. The delays are from Central to 190, 26 minutes downtown to O'Hare, and westbound 190 has slowed traffic from before River Road to the terminal area at the airport. Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, but a 5-minute delay. Mannheim to Harlem, outbound still good. Inbound Stevenson, there's a 2-minute delay. Cicero to Kedzie. The Ryan, about a 4-minute delay from 18th to downtown. Bishop Ford, stop and go 159th to Sibley with a crash in the left lane. And delays start again before 103rd. It's 22 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. Eastbound Adams Tollway a bit tight. Roselle to Meacham. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Whoa, this is heavy.
It's hard to believe, but the holidays are here. And if you're like me, you've already started to decorate for the season. But before you start trimming that tree, I want you to call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning at 708-599-5151. There's still time to have your carpet and upholstery cleaned before you have family and friends over for holiday dinners and gift exchanges. Executive Green came to my house a few months ago, and my carpet still looks newly cleaned. No stains or kitty marks where I'm putting my tree this year. Executive Green's cleaning process is safe for your entire family. They use their own purified water and a non-toxic solution that leaves no sticky, chalky residue. There are no risk guarantee promises. If you're not 100% satisfied, you will not pay for your service. So make your home beautiful for the holidays. Make your carpet look brand new again. Schedule an appointment now, 708-599-5151, or online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. That's executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. So you get yourself one of those blood tests with all the poking and prodding. They're always looking for some kind of bad news. Most blood tests these days are very lacking, only screening you for the big, bad, and ugly diseases, and with you never really getting the good news, or even knowing what to do with the not-so-good news. So let me tell you about our dirt-cheap comprehensive blood test. First of all, we'll be testing a wide variety of different health factors and not just the ugly few. And then we're going to sit down with you and strategize with all that we learned from your blood test findings. And I promise that you're going to know more about what you can do to help improve your health using a more natural, common sense approach. And for over 33 years, we've been very successful at setting people free from their toxic medications. It's our dirt cheap, comprehensive blood test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855. Be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 97. That's the percentage of Chicago Teachers Union members who voted yes in a recent mock vote. Yes, they voted. They are prepared to go out on strike for the second time in 4 years. The annual average CPS teacher salary is just under $80,000. And that's before you include their health insurance benefits and guaranteed seven-figure pensions. The bankrupt, junk-rated Chicago public schools spend more than $15,000 annually per pupil, and yet 75% of 4th and 8th graders are neither proficient in reading nor math. This in a system of nearly 400,000 students. So who's the bad guy here? Is it the teachers union or the mayor's office? Yes, there are no white hats in the story of central planners from City Hall fighting with the central planners from the teachers union over who gets to be the lead central planner at CPS. If the teachers strike, they deserve to be unlocked from their jobs. CPS students deserve access to schools that will give them the opportunity to earn an education that sets them on a course for success in life. The only way that happens is if the adults inside CPS, the parents, and the adults outside CPS, state political leaders, change the flow of money away from central planners and to families so that they may make the same choices for their children that Tiny Dancer did for his kids matriculating at the University of Chicago Lab School. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Kicking down the street.
Is Chris Isaac, is he on the list of songs we can download?
No.
He isn't? We'll put him on the list.
We will. We want to get you on the list, a list of somebody who's going to help those in need this holiday season. We've teamed up with Feed the Children for our 7th year, and really it's just a wonderful program. And we want to talk, needs from different families come from all walks of life. All it takes, Dan, is a job loss or a medical change or maybe a divorce.
Obamacare.
Yeah, I mean, and you're previously affluent families in deep need, and the needy families you're helping might even be from your own neighborhood. So how this works is we try to raise $18,000 or enough money to feed 18,000 children, I should say, this holiday season. And Feed the Children helps deliver canned goods, sundry items to local shelters and food pantries. We're asking for a one-time donation of $76, but whatever you could give would be much appreciated. It takes just a few minutes. I do it every year. Have your credit card ready. Operators are standing by. 866-435-2248. Again, that's 866-435-2248, but there's other ways to help.
All the money raised here, important just to emphasize, all the money raised here stays here to feed families in the Chicagoland area, so families in the communities in and around you. Don't you want to be like Lockport Steel Fabricators, Air Filter Engineers, LW Lands Real Estate, Lindholm Roofing, Viking Ski Shop? Of course you do. And the way you can behave like those responsible corporate operators is to participate in our business benefactor program. With this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children receives 40 60-second commercials that run prime broadcast hours on these airwaves Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. All you do is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. Again, Michael Mann, 847-871-1527, and he'll get you signed up for the business benefactor program and get you slotted for those 40 60-second commercials on these airwaves.
And Dan and I, we can voice the commercials for you, too, if you'd like. But if you've thought about advertising on radio in the past, this is really a great way to get your foot in the door and try it out. You have nothing to lose. Tax-deductible donation. All of the money goes to Feed the Children. So you'll be helping the needy as well as helping your business get noticed, expand your customer base. Again, Michael Mann, call him now, 847-871-1527.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they'll last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Foxford Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance. A person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
So do you think a politician can fix Illinois' problems? Me either. That's why I invested and I opened a real estate company in South Florida. Real wealth comes from real estate. I'm Sean Thompson. My company is Liberty Real Estate Services, and it's time to invest in a personal real estate portfolio that will secure your future. With Liberty Real Estate, we'll help you buy those properties, and most importantly, we'll help you manage those properties once they've been acquired. Financial independence can only be achieved when you've broken down the market like I have. Nobody wants to rent your 401k, but many want to rent your house. Real wealth comes from real estate with Liberty Real Estate Services. Call me right now at 630-323-4376. That number again is 630-323-4376, or visit the website at libertyrealestateservices.com for information you'll need to get real financial freedom and control your destiny. 630-323-4376 or libertyrealestateservices.com.
Liberty Real Estate Services, LLC. Illinois license number 481011303. Florida license ID BK3339363.
I'm Mike Scott. Here are the stories we're watching right now. A verdict expected today in the trial of a CPD brutality trial. Cloudy and breezy. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. The Donald is used to being the front runner, and Trump remains on top of the Republican presidential race nationally and in New Hampshire, but not in Iowa, and he's not happy. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Ted Cruz is the new #1 in Iowa, ahead of the state's all-important caucuses in February. A new Fox poll finds Ted Cruz leading Donald Trump 28 to 26%, and a poll from the Des Moines Register shows Cruz with a 10-point lead. Caucus goers say both Trump and Cruz are most qualified to handle the economy and national security. On Fox News Sunday, Trump called Cruz a maniac who's not fit for the presidency.
I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
Marco Rubio comes in third with 13%. Carson, who was the Iowa frontrunner in October, is fourth with 10%. Dave.
Rachel, the leading GOP candidates debate again tomorrow night in prime time. A jury in Baltimore will closing arguments in the case against William Porter today. He's the first of 6 police officers to face trial in Freddie Gray's death. The latest use of deadly force involves 2 sheriff's deputies in Los Angeles County. And Fox's Tanya J. Powers is on the case live.
Those 2 deputies fired 33 bullets at Nicholas Robertson because he refused to drop his gun. Security footage shows him stretched out on the ground with a gun in his hand. Witnesses had called 911 saying a man was firing a gun into the air. L.A. County Sheriff Jim McDonald says an investigation's underway.
We owe it to family, to the public, and to the justice system to be thorough and to be deliberate, to follow the evidence that will lead to more clarity and focus in this investigation.
Robertson was walking across the street to a gas station where a family was pumping gas, Dave.
Tanya, President Obama goes to the Pentagon this morning to focus on the fight against ISIS, though no new strategy is expected to come out of it. In Hollywood tonight, the return of the Jedi.
The Force. It's calling to you.
The new Star Wars will debut in what could be the biggest movie premiere ever. A half-mile section of Hollywood Boulevard's closed. The rest of us can see the movie starting Friday. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 56 degrees, gusty winds out of the south at 16. It is 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A Cook County judge expected to rule later today in the case of a Chicago police commander accused of brutally placing a gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. A verdict expected in the Glenn Evans case sometime around 10 a.m. Chicago police detectives investigating the weekend murder of a Northern Illinois University student home on winter break. Joseph Graves was gunned down Friday night while in his car in the 700 block of West 92nd Street. The reward for an arrest and conviction, $5,000. The leader of the College of DuPage Board of Trustees has resigned, citing only personal reasons for her abrupt departure. Chairwoman Catherine Hamilton says she was resigning effective immediately in a letter emailed Sunday evening to interim President Joseph Collins and trustees. Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth expected to get an endorsement this morning in the race for the U.S. Senate campaign. Services Employees Union expected to announce their support for the lawmaker today. Duckworth is fighting a campaign against Napoleon Harris and Andrea Zopp in the Democrat primary. 2 are hospitalized following a 5-car crash on the Dan Ryan early yesterday morning. The accident happened in the express lanes near 29th. Chicago sports. Bears fall hard to Washington 24-21. They had a chance to tie Robbie Gould wide right on a 50-yarder that would have knotted up the score. NHL. Patrick Kane extends his point streak to 26 games in a 4-0 win over Vancouver. Illinois State beat Murray State. Northwestern topped Chicago State in college hoops, and Notre Dame over Loyola. The news service of Lead Safe America. Does your child struggle to concentrate and pay attention? What looks like ADD or autism may actually be caused by lead poisoning. Find out how to protect your family. Go to leadsafeamerica.org. A check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
The Republican candidates for president will debate just one more time before the end of 2015. And the only place to hear that debate on the radio in Chicago is right here on AM 560. Catch the CNN Republican debate tomorrow night, live from Las Vegas.
That is not my policy.
Pre-debate coverage begins with Joe Walsh at 5, followed by the first round debate at 5:30 p.m. exclusively on your election headquarters in Chicago.
Man, his anger.
AM 560, The Answer.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with 1 claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverages of August 10, 2015.
Getting a new iPhone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting all the phones in your family is a smart idea. But if you have insurance through your wireless carrier, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $11 a month. For a family of 4, that's $44 every month. Plus, up to a $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade family protection plans cost less than $4 a month per phone with a much lower deductible. We can save your family over $500. Whether you've got a new iPhone or any other smartphone, stop overpaying for phone insurance and protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade instead.
Protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade and save over $500. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
.605 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Bishop Ford Freeway, traffic is stop and go from just past 8094 to Sibley with a crash now on the right shoulder. And delays start again before King Drive. It's 27 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. Outbound fine at 15. I-57 just has a slight delay. Halstead to the merge. The Ryan is 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eden still good. Inbound Kennedy, 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 30. With the delays from Montrose to 190, and then 190 is heavy from before River Road to the terminal area. Mount Eisenhower, 37 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 30. Stevenson is 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Traffic service of Soundhound. A song stuck in your head? Sing or hum it into the Soundhound app. Get the results you're looking for. Soundhound is the only music search app that lets you use your voice to discover music. Hear a song you love? Open Soundhound and tap the orange button to find out more. Or buy the song. Download SoundHound for free from your app store now. Traffic answers when you need the most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Showers around mainly early in the day, high 55. Then mostly cloudy through the night, low 39. Sunshine and patchy clouds tomorrow, high 44. Low clouds with a shower in spots at night, low of 40. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
56 at O'Hare, 58 along the lake. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Ed Lukasik Jr. of RE/MAX Professionals. Why lose money listing your home with an amateur? Get the most money for your home listing with a pro.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Today, the American people can be proud because this historic agreement is a tribute to American leadership. Over the past 7 years, we've transformed the United States into the global leader in fighting climate change.
But there's no penalty for it, obviously. But if there had been a penalty, we wouldn't have been able to get an agreement.
Mr. President, I want you to send a representative from the White House to North Lawndale to convene a White House summit on gun violence and urban poverty and police brutality.
We just believe Ted Cruz has been consistent in his character, with his principles, his conservative convictions. I really believe he has what it takes to go the distance, and he can be an effective standard bearer for us.
Look, I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So what do you want to see in tomorrow night's debate on CNN? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA is the turnkey.pro text line. What do you want to see? What questions you want to ask? Who do you want to see go at it? Certainly Trump and Cruz, maybe Trump and Rubio, maybe Cruz and Rubio, maybe Trump, Cruz, and Rubio, because it's kind of down to those three with Chris Christie trying to
he
force his way in.
Clawed his way back onto the main stage for this fifth debate.
He's trying to squeeze in.
Oh, hey. But next to Donald Trump's going to be Senator Ted Cruz. He'll be on his right, and on his left will be Ben Carson. Going to be very interesting. But those two definitely are going to attack each other. But Trump has got to come up with a nuanced way to hit Cruz.
Now,
rather than just spouting out. I mean, really, he's not evangelical enough, and
well, he's not going to do
he's
that.
for oil. He doesn't like ethanol. I mean, he just.
Well, who knows what he's going to do? Right. Who knows what Trump's going to do? But I think Trump's approach, as was presented by Sideshow Donald on the Sunday shows with respect to Cruz, is what you'll hear again on the stage tomorrow night. By the way, tomorrow night, starting at 5:30 on these airwaves, only radio station broadcasting the debates, including the undercard. The undercard is Huckabee has dropped down to the undercard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Huckabee,
Santorum, Lindsey Graham, and George Pataki.
Oh, good. I'm glad George Pataki's still in.
Yeah,
and then,
that guy.
and then it's the other nine, including Rand Paul, on the main stage. Although there were some rumors over the weekend that Rand Paul's getting ready to, kind
drop out,
fold up the tent, which is probably a good idea. I mean, he's got a re-election in Kentucky, coming up in the not too distant future. He needs to he's got something to lose. Rubio, if he's not the nominee, has already said he's not going to run for re-election as Senate, to the Senate. He's probably going to run for governor of Florida if he does not become the nominee. The other candidates are in pretty strong positions, or in the case of like Trump, have nothing, or even Carson have nothing to lose.
That's where, because Rand Paul, they changed their state's constitution so that he could run for Senate and run for president.
Here's Donald Trump on Cruz.
Look, I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
Right temperament, right judgment, Ted Cruz? Take callers on that, too.
Is he speaking about himself? 312-642-5600. I don't.
And then Trump goes on to put a finer point on the lacking in temperament argument he's offering.
What's wrong with this temperament? Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like a, frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way. Look, I built a phenomenal business. I'm worth many, many billions of dollars. I have some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world. You can't walk into the Senate and scream and call people liars and not be able to cajole and get along with people. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
I was just glad he didn't whip out his tax returns and go through his net worth again, like at his opening salvo in this race, his announcement press conference. But it's an interesting argument he makes. Said this previously. This idea that I've gotten things done. That's how I built this multi-billion-dollar empire. Those guys in the Senate, whether it's Cruz or Rubio not showing up for votes. I'm not saying that's a legitimate argument, but that's these guys just talk. They just talk. They don't get anything done. I'm a guy who gets things done. I think that's the difference maker for a lot of Trump supporters, the belief that he is somebody that will find a way to get things done no matter how ugly it has to be, because he's completely free from the trappings of being beholden to anyone or anything. Now, that cuts a couple of ways, and Trump supporters tend to see only one way. Somebody that's free from the trappings of being beholden to anyone or anything.
That's refreshing.
It's refreshing right up until they're not beholden to you anymore.
Oh, I see.
Right? So when you're an amoral deal maker, that can work out great if they make a deal to advance your flag. But if they're completely unaccountable, if there's no trigger to hold them accountable for 4 years or 8 years, then, certainly 4 years, 8 years, you got an election. After 4 years, you have an election, I suppose. But remember that just remember it can cut both ways. People sometimes have a tendency to only see what they want to see the side of the coin they want to happen. They don't necessarily look at the downside, and part of life is protecting the downside. By the way, just as an aside, I share this with your liberal friends. I want to make sure I get this in. Because it'll be interesting to compare and contrast tomorrow night's debate for Republicans to Saturday night's debate for the Democrats. Right?
Yeah, big primetime Saturday night debate.
Yeah.
We will not be carrying it here on AM 560.
No, I don't think anybody else will either.
I don't think, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you even schedule a debate right before a 2-week holiday break?
Because that's when Hillary wanted it. Here's a new study out. The study shows conservatives have higher IQs than liberals.
Oh, tell me it isn't
no.
true. Can I have a copy of that,
yes,
please?
Please. Distribute that in Lakeview. Liberally. The study, called Cognitive Ability and Party Identity in the United States, was done by Noah Carl, University of Oxford. It's a reputable institution, I would suggest. The study identified the participants across a spectrum ranging from strongly Republican to strongly Democrat, with independents in the middle. It also measured a subgroup comprised entirely of white participants to eliminate the factor of race. The results showed that Republicans had a higher IQ score than Democrats. 4 measurements to determine the cognitive abilities of participants. 10 were vocabulary tests to measure verbal intelligence. Tests of probability knowledge and verbal reasoning was also used. Lastly, the test givers asked each participant of the test how well they understood the questions. Republicans, again, let me just state this. Republicans, higher IQ than Democrats. I know the left believes in science. I know they kneel at the altar of science, even junk science. So ScienceDirect.com, this study reprinted in the U.S. News and World Report. Study shows conservatives have a higher IQ than liberals. Let me repeat that in case you liberals listening didn't understand what I just said. I'm going to slow it down. There's a study. It's science. There's a scientist from the University of Oxford. Did the scientific method, like what your junk scientists don't do with respect, and found conservatives have a higher IQ than liberals. Have I made that abundantly clear, Amy?
I believe it. And it's true. All the conservatives I know, I don't necessarily agree with all of you all the time, but you're the smartest people. And Ted Cruz, one of the smartest people running for president. Now, Donald Trump on Friday night had his first town hall in Des Moines, and he let people randomly walk up on stage. Did you see any of it? Or were you too busy gallivanting across the country to South Carolina?
The latter.
Yes, but he that's when he found out moments before that Ted Cruz was beating him in Iowa, and he didn't handle it too well.
And actually, what I don't understand, because the one guy that's doing pretty good with me in Iowa is Ted Cruz, and he's a nice guy. Everything I say, he agrees with me. No matter what I say, I was going to do one really wild, but he agrees. But with the ethanol, really, it's he's got to come a long way because he's right now for the oil. But I understand it. Oil pays him a lot of money. He's got to be for oil, right? The oil companies give him a lot of money. So, but I'm with you. I'm with everybody.
I'm with you. I'm with everybody.
I'm with people for ethanol subsidies. I'm with people against ethanol subsidies. I'm for people.
And Dan, he loves the evangelicals.
But so I think we're going to do, we're doing really well with the evangelicals. And by the way, and again, I do like Ted Cruz, but not a lot of evangelicals come out of Cuba, in all fairness. It's true. Not a lot come out. But I like him nevertheless. But I think we're going to do great, and we are doing great with evangelicals.
So there's the two lines of attack you just heard that you'll hear tomorrow night's debate, I presume. One is the temperament issue, right? He went to the Senate. He doesn't get along with anybody, so he doesn't get things done. I get along with everybody, even if they don't like me, because I find points of commonality to get business done. That's how I built this multi-billion-dollar empire. That's one. And the second thing, like everybody who's not Trump, is that Ted Cruz is somehow compromised. He's a handmaiden of big oil. That's essentially what Trump is saying.
Right.
And Trump, because
and that he's in the back pockets of large oil companies, yeah.
Right, and Trump, because he is so intellectually vacuous. If Cruz was for ethanol subsidies, Trump would be against them, at least for the time being. Ethanol subsidies, bad idea. Subsidies across the board, bad idea, aren't they? Donald, if you're the newfound free market kind of guy that you are, except when you're not, except when you're proposing protective tariffs and the like. I mean, this is why
he was struggling, though.
Well, this is why Trump is like nitroglycerin. Right? If it's not handled just so, the thing blows up.
Well, he didn't do well on Friday night, I don't think, because the crowd wasn't responding to him. He's been in front of these raucous crowds where people have been getting arrested and protesters are getting in fistfights with his supporters. And it was a more intellectual crowd on Friday, and they just were listening to him. There's just a smattering of applause. So.
Well, I think Ted Cruz, there's a lot of support or at least good feeling among Trump supporters for Ted Cruz. And so the attacks on Ted Cruz, unless they're very specific and there's some evidentiary foundation for them, they're not going to go over as well as, taking apart Jeb Bush or John Kasich or even Rand Paul. Those are a lot easier. One other thing that comes from the surveys out in the last 72 hours, both the Bloomberg survey that finds Cruz up 10 points in Iowa, as well as NBC. There's an NBC Wall Street Journal survey that was out today, national survey, that shows Trump leading nationally with 27%, Ted Cruz vaulting into second at 22%, Rubio at 15%. But one of the other stories is the cratering of Ben Carson. Dr. Carson is cratered across the board, not just is he kind of down into fourth place nationally and falling in Iowa as well. He's also falling on that second choice question. If not, who would your second choice be? Your first choice is candidate A, and who would your second choice be? He's lost between the last NBC Wall Street Journal poll and this one out this weekend. He's lost 11 points. I'm sorry. He's down 18 points in the horse race question. He's down 22 in the second choice question. I think Carson has been measured and found wanting, and now what you have is a three-person race: Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. And frankly, I hope that there is a proportional amount of time devoted to interplay between those three tomorrow night, so we don't spend too much time. I mean, everybody deserves the chance. They're all running for president. I've been an underdog candidate, so I don't want them completely frozen out. But I also think in a 9-person field on stage, you have to give the three front runners, the three most likely candidates to be the nominee, a little bit more time than, say, Rand Paul and John Kasich.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Warm right now, 57 degrees at O'Hare, and the temperature is going to be falling slightly throughout the day. By mid-afternoon, we should be in the mid-40s, and the rain's going to clear out of here, but the cloudy skies will remain. And tomorrow, partly sunny, cooler, a high of 44. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. It's a wet, slow ride to the airport on the outbound Kennedy. Stop and go from Kimball to O'Hare, 40 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. And there are delays on westbound 190 as well. Inbound just 22 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. The inbound Edens has a 5-minute delay from Niles Center to the junction. Still okay outbound. Inbound Eisenhower, bumper to bumper, Manheim to Austin. 46 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 33. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. To Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 jamming up quickly with some heavy rain in the area. 30 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 427. Eastbound Adams Tollway, slow Roselle to Meacham, and from the Des Plaines Oasis to the Kennedy. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Oh, I'm so excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. So basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. I love MyPillow, but don't take my word for it. Here's Sam.
You know, when it came, I was really skeptical of it being as good as it was advertised to be because it's advertised, quite a bit. I gave it a try that night, and, I thought looking at it was just another one of these gimmicky pillows that I didn't expect it to be any better or worse than other pillows I've tried. But that first night of sleeping with MyPillow, it was so much better than I expected. And I've got a closet full of pillows, so I had quite a few to compare it to.
Be like Sam, be like me, and get a pillow from MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one. Keep one for yourself, give one as a gift. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, and allergies. Plus, it's washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
I'm amazed. I want to say thank you to Balance of Nature. You guys are awesome. God bless you. The reason I have so much enthusiasm is because I speak as a person who has investigated the things that are out there. What I see is that there's many, many people telling the same story, and it's ruining it for the people who really are true. Up until this point, I had a lot of doubt whether I have an instinct that there should be something you can spend some money on and get something good, and I hadn't found it, and I believe I have found it this time. So, again, awesome, and thank you.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer. Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
But the fire is so delightful.
Yeah. Can't wait till we go Christmas caroling. Dan and Amy, we're almost there. We are almost to our goal, the necessary funds to feed 18,000 children in Chicagoland area this year. This is our annual campaign with Feed the Children. Feed the Children, a nonprofit charity that provides hope and resources for families affected by poverty, natural disasters, and the like, and also people affected by the everyday vagaries of life, the loss of a job, an illness that negatively impacts people's ability to provide for their families during the holidays, for example. And so one of the things we're asking people to do is make a donation of $76. $76 will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. What does that buy? Buys a 25-pound box of food filled with non-perishable items like canned goods, peanut butter, pasta, and cereals, as well as a 10-pound box of essentials filled with personal items, toiletries, and cleaning supplies. But if you can't donate $76, you can donate any amount. We'll take any amount that you can offer and appreciate your generosity in so doing. All you do is call 866-435-2248, 866-435-2248. Make a contribution of any amount to feed the children to help us get to our threshold to feed 18,000 children in and around Chicago this holiday season. The other way you can do it, just open the AM 560 mobile app, tap on the button that says Help Feed Chicago's Hungry Children, and you'll be prompted to donate.
And we also have another way you can help out. If you're a business owner or do the marketing for your company, listen up with the Business Benefactor Program. With this program, any business that makes a one-time donation of $2,500, it's tax deductible. All of the money goes to feed the children. Then as a way of saying thank you, we give you 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday right here on AM 560 to get involved in this program. And trust me, you're going to want to do this sooner rather than later because slots are filling up quickly. You're going to want to call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527. Let me name a few of our business benefactors: Charles Equipment, Lindholm Roofing, Viking Ski Shop, Heil Insurance, Air Filters Engineers. It's just a few of our business benefactors. But again, it's a great way to take your business to the next level. If you've ever thought about advertising in radio, this is a perfect opportunity to get your foot in the door and try it out. So call Michael Mann right now. He's waiting. 847-871-1527.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you want to refinance and pay off debt, you called me and I helped you. When your kids were purchasing their first home and you wanted to make sure they were working with a trustworthy lender, you called me and I helped them. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
The Gun Safety Guy's mission is pure and simple: to help good people safely enjoy recreational shooting and improve their ability to protect themselves and their family responsibly. This is what Pastor Ed Bryant, the Gun Safety Guy, has built for you and your family. Pastor Bryant's background and experience enables him to communicate with all of his students, no matter what their age, gender, or ability. New shooters learn the fundamentals. Experienced shooters develop their skills. Above everything, all shooters are taught to value safety first. Family-friendly firearms instruction is the core of the Gun Safety Guy, and I took his basic pistol class, which was excellent. I can attest to the fact that safety is the core of his instruction. Excellent class, and he's got a range of other classes as well. So give the gift of firearm safety this holiday season. Gift certificates are available. Learn more at thegunsafetyguy.com, thegunsafetyguy.com. Family-friendly firearms instruction with NRA-certified instructor Pastor Ed Bryant, thegunsafetyguy.com. And wait, there's more. You better get to your phones straight away. I got a giveaway. It's the season of gift giving, and it's and also for New Year's resolutions. If someone you love would like to learn how to safely operate a firearm, visit thegunsafetyguy.com. There, you or your loved one can register for NRA-accredited classes, as well as the Illinois Concealed Carry class. Be caller, what number, Amy?
Caller number 9.
Caller number 9 right now. Caller number 9 to 312-642-5600 right now to win a $150 gift certificate towards a firearm class from the Gun Safety Guy. Caller number 9, 312-642-5600 gets a $150 gift certificate towards a firearms class from the Gun Safety Guy.
And coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we have Bill Crystal from the Weekly Standard to talk about Paris, to talk about the presidential debate tomorrow, to talk about it all at 6:36.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Outside this morning, 57 degrees, winds out of the south at 16. President Barack Obama gives a public update on what the U.S. is doing to fight ISIS. U.S. officials have insisted there are no specific credible threats to the country, but the apparent lack of warning before the San Bernardino, California shootings has raised concerns about whether the U.S. has a handle on potential attacks. A jury in Baltimore will soon begin deliberations in the trial of one of 6 police officers accused of causing the death of Freddie Gray. Police in Croatia say 500,000 asylum seekers have now crossed into that country since mid-September on their way to try to get into Western Europe. Police say they entered Croatia after Hungary closed its border with Serbia. Donald Trump on the attack following the sudden leap in the first place of GOP rival Ted Cruz in Iowa polls.
You look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like a, frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way.
On Fox News Sunday, Trump criticized Cruz's record in the Senate. Meantime, Senator Marco Rubio says Trump's remarks on banning Muslims are outlandish.
Obviously, I think he made them partially to recapture the limelight after having lost it. And I do think we've lost some of the focus on the attacks in San Bernardino and focused on a plan that isn't really a plan and is never going to happen.
The Republican presidential candidate telling NBC's Meet the Press he has strong reservations about Trump's understanding of critical issues. One political expert this morning says Trump's recent statements about banning Muslims from entering the country will be a big part of the GOP debate tomorrow.
This discussion over Muslims entering the United States will be one of the primary topics, and those who want to score points against Trump are going to have to come out with a strong line of opposition to his statement. Dr. Sean Foreman is with Barry University. The only place to hear that CNN debate on the radio beginning around 5:30 tomorrow is right here on AM 560. 2 L.A. County Sheriff's deputies fired 33 bullets at a man because he refused to drop his gun as he lay across a busy street. 28-year-old Nicholas Roberts died at the scene. Sheriff Jim McDonald says the investigation will be properly vetted.
I want to ensure the public that the Sheriff's Department takes deputy-involved shootings very seriously and that this investigation will be handled with the utmost professionalism and integrity.
A close-up from security footage showing Robertson stretched on the ground with a gun in his hand. Cook County judge expected to rule later today in the case of a Chicago police commander accused of brutality. Prosecutors say Glenn Evans may have placed his gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. Chicago sports last night or yesterday afternoon, actually, Washington over the Blackhawks over the Bears 24-21, and the Blackhawks were 4-0 winners over Vancouver. 6:34 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager wants answers from the president.
What law would he have passed that would have stopped the San Bernardino massacre? If you can tell me of an effective law that would have allowed the law-abiding citizen to get guns, but not these people, I want to know what they are. So I always ask, what do you propose? And then there are crickets.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The Chicago Wolves host Rockford Saturday at 7, part of the Illinois Lottery Cup, and Monday the 21st versus Manitoba. Saturday is T-shirt giveaway night sponsored by Hyde & Hine. For information, visit ChicagoWolves.com.
6:35, the news, a service of Lettuce Entertain You. Give the gift that fits all appetites. A Lettuce Entertain You gift card. Receive a free $25 holiday bonus for every $100 in lettuce gift cards you buy. Simply visit a lettuce restaurant or LEYE.com. We'll bring in Jim Talamonte this morning in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Jim, we just heard that there's been a fatality in that fire at 92nd in Baltimore. It may also be disrupting traffic a bit near Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn. What's the read on the traffic there right now?
That's right. Bike streets have reopened on the southeast side at 92nd in Baltimore, though there's some ongoing cleanup and, of course, investigation in that area right now. I know word of any closures around Christ Hospital, but we'll keep an eye on that. There is a new report of a car hitting a pedestrian in Schaumburg, Roselle Road at Central. Streets are open right now, but we'll also keep an eye on that one. Inbound Aiden's getting heavier. 31 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 51 minutes. The Eisenhower, now 57 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. Rain's a factor on the Stevenson, 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Up on 34, the Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, very heavy traffic. Service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Idling your car engine is a big waste. Idling causes air pollution. 6 billion gallons of fuel goes up in smoke every year. Learn to breathe easy, save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, breezy, showers around this morning. Temps begin to fall this afternoon. Our high temperature is right about now, 58 or so in the area, then dropping throughout the day, a low of 39 overnight. 56 at O'Hare, 58 along the lakefront. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, you know I'm a fan of Bill Buckley.
Yes.
And he used to chide liberals about trying to immanentize the eschaton.
Immanentize the eschaton?
Immanentize the eschaton.
That's the name of my band. My high school band.
It's a great band name, isn't it?
It is. It's great, yeah.
Kids loved it. Trying to create heaven on earth. And I used to think that was impossible. That was before this weekend. With the Paris Agreement.
You feel cleansed?
We are now a short 85 years away from heaven on earth. If only I can live long enough to see it. Isn't that right? Bill Kristol, he is the editor of the Weekly Standard, weeklystandard.com, joins us now. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you. I remember that phrase as well. It shows what our high school years were like, I guess.
I guess. Right. We weren't in Amy's band. Yes, right.
Yeah, no, Amy was in a cool band. We were working around talking about immunizing the eschaton.
So am I overstating it to say that heaven and earth is right around the corner?
I mean, it's really so ludicrous. They signed some non-binding agreements that to deal with a impossible problem, something if there's some global warming going on, but it's not clear that it's particularly bad for the globe or unprecedented. And they all get together and pat themselves on the back and sign a non-binding agreement. That's someone I know compared it to the last huge agreement that was signed in Paris, which I think was 1928, the Kellogg-Briand Pact, which was Kellogg was, I believe, the American Secretary of State. Briand was the French Foreign Minister, and that was supposed to end war, to abolish war. 11 years later, World War II began. So I think it's about the same likelihood of actually affecting events.
So what changes are going to be made? How is life going to be different for us?
Well, I think no one's really committed to doing anything. They're committed to seeking certain goals. Look, there is a reasonable case. We made it, Erwin Seltzer's made it in our magazine. He has a good piece about the whole Paris climate thing up on our website, actually. But, for let's say, if you think it's something of a problem, you want to reduce greenhouse gases, you can move to a carbon tax and, trade out some of the taxes we currently have on income or sales or other things. That's not a crazy public policy position, but this doesn't commit anyone to doing that, and Obama hasn't even pushed for that. So it's all talk, as so often the case with this president. They all feel good. It is contemporary liberalism in the sense of, and Bill Buckley would have liked that too. They get together, they talk, they have a big fancy conference, they pat themselves on the back. They don't actually address any real problem in the real world.
Do you see this as an opportunity for President Obama, kind of in his own words, after the agreement was codified, that this is an opportunity for him to demonstrate that he is a global leader, that this is where America is at the tip of the spear? So this idea that he leads from behind or he's not projecting American power globally, no. This is a case where he's doing just that, and it's a way for him to say he's a leader without having to address real existential threats like radical Islamic terrorism.
Right. 300,000 Syrians are dead, and the world is in general chaos, and our economy is not growing well. Working class people aren't doing well in this country. And he's, this allows him to say that he's closing up his presidency with this fantastic act of global leadership. The only thing it semi-commits, that we're going to commit us to, but it says we're going to transfer all this money to poor countries. Again, if you want to make a case for more foreign aid to poor countries, that's fine. That's something that's debated in the Congress each year when we pass the foreign aid bill. But most of this money would go to kleptocratic third world governments who would not use it for climate change. They would use it for whatever they use it for. And again, I can't believe the American public is really on board that agenda right now. It'll be interesting to see what the Republicans say about it Tuesday night. There is an article in the climate change agreement, I think, that allows countries to pull out with a year's notice. It'll be interesting to see if Republicans say they're going to pull out or they're going to work within the system. It's just interesting to see in general how what their stance is on it.
And for somehow, would we be penalized if we didn't comply?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any mechanism really to do that.
It's just shaming.
It's just a non-binding
Yeah,
agreement.
exactly. It's just people like you would have to, people like us, just the way we're shamed every day here in America.
Right. We'll be shamed by Venezuela.
Not being on board the president's program. You will probably won't be able to teach at a university, on the other hand, if you're pulling out of the agreement. That actually is a serious problem, and we joke about the shaming, but it's unbelievable what's happening in college campuses.
Well, I'm going to switch to the presidential campaign, and I don't normally cite the prognostications of the left, except when they agree with me. John Podesta, the Clinton campaign chairman, handicapping the GOP race last week at a fundraiser in Berkeley, of course, Berkeley, said that the most likely nominee for the Republicans is Ted Cruz, followed by Trump, and then Marco Rubio. Ted Cruz, the smoothest path to the nomination. Do you agree with that?
I think Cruz has a pretty good chance. I think Rubio has a pretty good chance. I don't agree that Trump is number two. I've never thought he really would have much of a chance to be the nominee, and maybe I'll be wrong. He certainly stayed up there in the polls much longer than I expected. But I think what you see in Iowa, and even in the national poll from Fox yesterday, is the beginning of voters that enjoy Trump. They love it when he sticks it to the establishment on political correctness and so forth. But I think they have a sense that he's not the right guy to be president. We could end up with a Cruz-Rubio race. Maybe one more person could get Trump to be in it for a while. I think someone like Chris Christie has an outside shot to establish himself in such a race. I don't know. Cruz-Rubio strikes as a very close race. If you just look at the polling and look at the two campaigns, both very able candidates. What strikes me about the race is, there's been a lot of unrest over the Trump situation, a lot of panic even among Republicans. If Trump begins to fade, and that still remains a pretty big if, I think they will notice that with Rubio and Cruz, and for that matter, Christie, they have very talented politicians out there running. Cruz is awfully conservative. Whether he could beat Hillary Clinton in a general election will be a question Republicans will ask. On the other hand, he's a heck of a good debater, and I don't know. He looks strong in Iowa, that's for sure.
And what a contrast that will be, either Cruz or Rubio, 44 years old, compared to the 124-year-old Hillary Clinton, generational change.
So you're going to get a refuge. If you need a license to be on the radio, you can have that pulled by the Obama administration the next few days. I think.
Yeah,
I could probably have my license pulled. I could probably penalize you just listening to that and laughing.
I think our phone is ringing now. But one of the questions about Rubio is his strategy. Is he making a bit of a Giuliani mistake? There's a piece, again, not an outlet I cite often, but I think the point is interesting. A piece in Vox by Andrew Prokop that just quotes Rubio's campaign manager saying more people in Iowa see Marco on Fox and Friends than see Marco when he's in Iowa, explaining why they've spent a lot of money on advertisement in the early states, Iowa, New Hampshire, but Marco Rubio hasn't spent nearly the amount of time on the ground in those early states that Cruz or even Trump has. Is that a strategic mistake?
I think people are overstating that, and I think the Rubio campaign is doing a pretty good job of keeping expectations down. I was in Iowa just over a week ago, about 9-10 days ago, for the first day, and I tried to talk to a lot of people. Obviously, it's just a day, so I thought there was a pretty good Rubio campaign going there. Cruz is probably better organized, more extensively organized, but I think Rubio, I think it's a pretty professional campaign. I think they know what they're doing. I think they tried to keep expectations down. If Rubio can run second or a strong third in Iowa, assuming Cruz wins it, then they go to New Hampshire. Presumably Rubio might beat Cruz in New Hampshire, and then you've got a classic setup where each of them would have won one of the first two states, and they go slug it out for the next weeks or months. I mean, Trump incidentally of course, could still be in it, and maybe I'm underestimating Trump. Carson seems to be fading, but he could still be in it. And as I say, there still is a chance, I think. It's still a ways away for someone like a Christie or maybe one of the others to make a move. So we're probably being a little premature in winning the chance of those two. But
You know, one name you didn't mention was Jeb Bush. Is this do or die time for him? I mean, here we go again. He hasn't been making any news recently, and if he falters on this debate, is it completely over?
Yeah, I think so. I think he needs to really have a, breakout moment almost in this debate. Even so, it's pretty hard to see it past the nomination. Everyone knows him. It's not like he's going to make a run as one of these kind of unknown guys who suddenly catches on. Or I actually think if he has a weak debate, he's got to think over Christmas about getting out, just because what's the point? He's at 5%. He spent all this money. It's not as if he's going to reintroduce himself to the American public. And, I think he can do it with dignity and just say, look, I took a good shot. It wasn't my year. The mood was different. I hope I honestly, I like him, and I hope he does that and doesn't sort of go down bitterly fighting and attacking the younger generation of Rubio, Cruz, even Christie, and the others. I mean, I think that's just what I hope. I have no evidence that will happen, but it would be nice if he went out with dignity, I think.
He is Bill Crystal. He's the editor of the Weekly Standard, weeklystandard.com. Bill, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Morning rain is tapering off. We're going to have clouds left behind and some warm temperatures right now, but it's going to be falling throughout the day. 57 degrees right now at O'Hare. We're going to be in the 40s by this afternoon. Tonight, a low in the upper 30s, and for tomorrow, partly sunny skies, cooler, a crisp day, a high of 44 degrees. Let's see how the outbound Kennedy is shaping up. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, it's not very crisp, that's for sure, Amy. It's an hour now from downtown to O'Hare, really jammed from Armitage to the airport, and tack on some delays on westbound 190 as well. And inbounds, no picnic, 42 minutes and rising from O'Hare to downtown, and the express lanes only save a couple minutes. Eden's 36 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 24. The Eisenhower, 59 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 45. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound 34. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow 95th to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 47th. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Mild delays on the other tollways. In Waukegan, Green Bay Road is closed at Washington for the crash. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. The day kicking off with one question on every investor's mind. Will the Fed or will the Fed not raise interest rates this week? That story and more next.
We all know someone who's been laid off in the past few years in some corporate cost-cutting move. Most of these people were over 50 years old, and they'd held their job for years. You tell me, who's going to hire these people at the same wage? In this day and age of job insecurity, is there any other feeling more empowering than being your own boss? Hi, Steve Cooper here, co-owner of ERSOP.com, ERSOP, which stands for Entrepreneur Rollover Stock Ownership Plan. We've helped thousands of people get control of their lives, income, and their sense of security. Along with my partner Karen Franklin, ERSOP.com has also helped these thousands of people use their retirement funds to invest in businesses for themselves and their family. It only takes a couple of weeks to finance, and it's totally legal. And the best part is, 3, 4, 5 years later, you put the retirement funds back and have the corporation carry on by itself. Be the entrepreneur you've always dreamed of being. Call 866-MY-ERSOP. That's 866-MY-ERSOP. Invest in yourself. Call 866-MY-ERSOP.
Investors bracing for what could be another turbulent day of trading on Wall Street. Friday's 2% sell-off resulted in the S&P 500's steepest weekly decline since August. No major economic reports out today on the economy. Look for corporate developments and reports on the Chinese and European economies to influence trading. Investors also watching fluctuations in the crude oil market after falling nearly 11% last week. January crude now trading near a 7-year low under $36 a barrel. We're watching as well bond yields as the Fed prepares for its 2-day policy meeting, which begins tomorrow. Some investors questioning whether the Fed will raise interest rates given the recent collapse in commodity prices and soft equity markets. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern, on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
So, I'm retiring today.
Freedom!
I hate goodbyes, so I've hired singers to follow me around and bid my coworkers farewell.
It's John's last day.
Okay, let's get started. Here's Tom.
Your pranks were amazing, despite what HR says.
Next, Susan.
Your homemade cookies blew his mind and diet.
Finally, Dave.
You never judged him for his popcorn burning.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Ready to give your swan song at work? The Mutual Fund Store can help. We'll sit down with you one-on-one to talk about your goals. Then we'll put a plan in place to help get you on track. Finally, we'll keep a close eye on your account to make sure you stay on track. Discover how within reach your retirement could be for you with a free portfolio review and consultation.
Hi, I'm Matt Personette with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
I don't care what your mama says.
You know, Dan, needy families come from all walks of life. All it takes is a job loss, a medical challenge, or some unforeseen change in circumstances.
Government policy.
Yeah, to put a previously affluent family in deep need. And the needy families that we want to help this holiday season might even be from your own neighborhood. That's why for the 7th year now, we've partnered up with Feed the Children to help feed hungry children and adults in and around the Chicago area. What I love about Feed the Children is what's raised here stays here. And we're asking for a one-time donation of $76. How did we come up with that number? Well, $76 will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. And there's also, to take part of that program, there's a phone number you can call, 866-435-2248. Operators are standing by. It literally takes 2 minutes. I'm not kidding. 2 minutes to help so many. One-time donation of $76. But if you can only give $50 or maybe $20, make a donation on behalf of your well-fed children or grandchildren, that's fine too. 866-435-2248 is the number.
Our goal is to feed 18,000 children in the Chicagoland area this holiday season, and we're on the cusp of it. Help put us over the top. That's Amy just described one way to participate. Another way is through our business benefactor program, where any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children receives 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so prime broadcasting hours, on these airwaves, AM 560 The Answer. All you do to sign up for the business benefactor program is call our sales manager, Michael Mann, directly at 847-871-1527.
Have you memorized the number yet?
847-871-1527, yeah.
Now look at me and say it.
847-871-1527. And by the way, Michael Mann, just to show you the power of advertising, Michael Mann's name ID in the Chicagoland area has skyrocketed since this program started because we've repeated his name and phone number so often. You can also just text the word feed to 64636 if you don't want to talk to Michael Mann. You don't have to. You just text the word feed to 64636 and you'll be prompted to enroll.
You know, a lot of people reached out to me on Twitter this weekend saying, hey, is this business benefactor, tell me more about it. And I really, if you're thinking about advertising, this is a great way to get your foot in the door and try it out. Nowhere in the Chicago area could you get a deal like this. $2,500, tax deductible. All the money goes to feed the babies. And then we give you 40 60-second commercials as a way of saying thanks. Take your business to the next level. Really, you have nothing to lose, and now's the time to try it. If you have any questions, if you're on the fence, just call Michael Mann. And we know the number, 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. Now, 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. You need to call Saul Z and the Z team based right here in Chicagoland. Now, Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Now, Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they'll last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
Too high. Your property taxes are too high. Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the country, a burden that unfairly penalizes people like you. Why does Illinois have the second highest property tax rate in the country? Because elected officials spend too much money. Year after year, lawmakers promise to freeze the property tax rate. They make false promises at election time and fail to get the job done. The result? Property tax rates go up and up. It's time to force the politicians to keep their promise to voters. Join Americans for Prosperity in the fight to freeze property taxes. Go to afpil.org to start a tax freeze petition in your community. Go to afpil.org to put the brakes on runaway property taxes. If you're sick and tired of ever increasing property taxes, do something about it. Go to afpil.org, paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Why are Illinois Republicans so slow to join the Rahm recall bandwagon? We'll ask that question and answer it at 7:07.
And then at 7:37, wait for it. Diamond and Silk will be here. They're stumping for Trump, and they'll tell us why. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the latest developments on a Chicago firefighter injured and perhaps killed in a blaze at 92nd in Baltimore this early morning. The latest on that developing story. Meantime, the verdict expected later today in the trial of a CPD commander in a brutality trial. An NIU student fatally shot on the south side. The latest on that investigation. And the Redskins edge the Bears. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Ted Cruz is surging, now leading the Republican presidential race in Iowa in 2 polls, and Donald Trump doesn't like it.
You look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way.
Cruz's response? On Twitter, he posted a video of the song Maniac. Cruz has also surged to second nationally in a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll, up to 22%, just 5 points back of Trump. FBI divers are done searching a lake near the scene of the San Bernardino massacre. No word yet if they found any evidence the killers might have dumped. This as we learn more about Syed Farouk's wife, Tashfeen Malik, who came to the U.S. last year to marry him.
According to the reporting of the New York Times over the weekend, prior to being given that visa, she had posted several times on social media about her support for jihad and about wanting to be a part of jihad. But again, according to the Times, social media posts are not routinely checked during the K-1 visa screening process.
That's Fox's Jonathan Hunt in San Bernardino. President Obama will make a rare appearance at the Pentagon this morning for a national security meeting to focus on the battle against ISIS terrorists, but no strategy changes are expected. A jury in Baltimore could soon start deliberating the fate of the first of 6 police officers charged in Freddie Gray's death. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Closing arguments expected today in the case of William Porter, who's charged with manslaughter and misconduct in the death of Freddie Gray, fatally injured in a police custody last spring, prompting days of unrest in the city. Businessman Harvey Levy's store in East Baltimore was looted.
The city vowed that they would have control this time and it wouldn't be a repeat. So hopefully, they know what they're doing this time.
Porter's accused of failing to get help for Gray, who suffered a broken neck inside a police van. Dave.
Again, there are 5 other police officers who will await trial separately in the Freddie Gray case. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 57 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A Chicago firefighter was killed in a South Chicago blaze. Apparently died after falling through a second floor, falling through a hole in the second floor that may have been an elevator shaft while battling a warehouse fire in South Chicago at 92nd and Baltimore. This is a developing story that we will continue to follow for you throughout the morning. Meantime, the Chicago Teachers Union are expected to announce this morning whether a strike is on the horizon. If the union has the votes to authorize it, it will be the second time in 4 years that teachers in the country's third largest district have walked off the job. Under Illinois law, 75% of union members must vote yes in order for a strike to be approved. Chicago police say a car that struck a van over the weekend and killed one person was stolen. 12 others were hurt. The accident happened late Saturday night near 71st and Carpenter during a police pursuit. This morning, police tell us they're looking into a shooting in Chicago's Wrigleyville neighborhood. Police say early yesterday morning, officers arrived at the corner of Racine and Patterson when 2 groups opened fire on each other. No arrests made, but one man later showed up at an Evanston hospital with a gunshot wound to the back. A Cook County judge is expected to rule later today in the case of a Chicago police commander accused of brutality. Prosecutors say Glenn Evans apparently placed his gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. A verdict expected around 10 a.m. The suburban leader of the College of DuPage Board of Trustees has resigned, citing only personal reasons for her abrupt departure. Chairwoman Catherine Hamilton says she was resigning effective immediately in a letter emailed Sunday to interim President Joe Collins and trustees. The College of DuPage, the largest community college in Illinois, remains under federal and state investigation. Chicago sports. Redskins over the Bears, 24-21. NHL. Blackhawks blank Vancouver 4-0. Patrick Kane extending his point streak to 26 games. The news a service of Compassion International. Almost 1 billion children around the world live in extreme poverty. You can change or even save the life of one of those kids when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity wants the president to take action.
His whole presidency has involved the distortion of words. And if the choice is between believing what Obama said last night versus the previous, 7 years of his presidency, I'm going with the 7 years of his presidency. He didn't announce any major initiative to take on ISIS.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with 1 claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverage as of August 10, 2015.
Getting a new iPhone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting all the phones in your family is a smart idea. But if you have insurance through your wireless carrier, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $11 a month. For a family of 4, that's $44 every month. Plus, up to $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade family protection plans cost less than $4 a month per phone with a much lower deductible. We can save your family over $500. Whether you've got a new iPhone or any other smartphone, stop overpaying for phone insurance and protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade instead.
Protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade and save over $500. Visit squaretrade.com. That's squaretrade.com.
7:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. The latest this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start at Old Orchard. It's 36 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Kennedy slow all the way, 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 3 minutes. Inbound Eisenhower stop and go Manheim to Costner, an hour from Thorndale to downtown, outbound 45 minutes. The Stevenson is an hour from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 47 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound there's a 5-minute delay, California to Cicero. Inbound Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57. 35 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Mission 432, northbound Tri-State. Slow 95th to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, heavy Roselle to Meacham, and from the Des Plaines Oasis Kennedy, Reagan Tollway slow from the Fox River to 59. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy and breezy with showers around, mainly early, high 55, then mostly cloudy through the night tonight, low 39. Sun and patchy clouds tomorrow, high 44. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
56 at O'Hare, 58 along the lakefront. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Today, the American people can be proud because this historic agreement is a tribute to American leadership. Over the past 7 years, we've transformed the United States into the global leader in fighting climate change.
But there's no penalty for it, obviously. But if there had been a penalty, we wouldn't have been able to get an agreement.
Mr. President, I want you to send a representative from the White House to North Lawndale to convene a White House summit on gun violence and urban poverty and police brutality.
We just believe Ted Cruz has been consistent in his character, with his principles, his conservative convictions. I really believe he has what it takes to go the distance, and he can be an effective standard bearer for us.
Look, I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, I have a resolution.
Yes? A New Year's resolution?
No. I have a resolution right now. Are you ready for it?
I'm sitting down.
Yes, I know. You're
nursing my
you got a
wound.
You got a wounded wing over there. I see that.
Yeah. Got a flat tire.
Resolved. Every Illinois Republican state legislator should sign on as a co-sponsor to LaShawn Ford's Rahm recall legislation.
Yeah, I thought that would be just a gimme, that was going to happen. But have any Republican state lawmakers done anything, Dan?
The only one I know of, because I spoke with her on Friday, Jeannie Ives from Wheaton, our friend Jeannie Ives from Wheaton, said she called LaShawn Ford and told him to put her on as a co-sponsor. But the question is, does anyone disagree with my resolution? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Every Republican state legislator should sign on as a co-sponsor to LaShawn Ford's recall legislation that would apply to Chicago mayors generally, and Rahm specifically. That's what we're talking about, of course, recall Rahm. Let me tell you something. And not only should they should do it while all of the Democrats are dithering because they don't know what to do because they haven't gotten instructions from Emanuel or Cullerton, and they're still afraid of Rahm. This is an opportunity for all that I hear, particularly from the establishment side, which I think of the party, which is usually just lip service, because that's what the establishment, particularly in this state, is good at, lip service. We want to reach out to minorities. We need to do a better job of attracting Black and Latino voters. And you have this moment where you can stand with minority families. Generally, it's not limited to, but it's generally those have been, disproportionately disenfranchised across the board by Rahm Emanuel. This is about Rahm Emanuel. This is not about pitting minority families against police officers or anybody against police officers. This is about Rahm Emanuel. The city is disintegrating around Tiny Dancer, not just with respect to what's happened in these cover-ups of cases like Laquan McDonald or Philip Coleman. But you're on the cusp of another teacher strike after he got pantsed by Karen Lewis 4 years ago. You have the worst run city in the country by almost every financial metric, highest debt per capita. You've got a junk-rated CPS and a nearly junk-rated city. You got $30 billion in unfunded pension liabilities. He just passed a $700 million, $750 million property tax increase, which is really a $2 billion property tax increase over the course of it, and it's a drop in the bucket compared to the liabilities you're accruing with the pension systems that he doesn't want to address in the structural way he said he would address when he was elected mayor 5 years ago. What is the case for Rahm to stay? And here's what I hear from some Republicans. Well, what comes after?
That's the thing.
And you know what that is? Bull jive.
You don't think Tony Preckwinkle will do the same exact thing that Mayor Emanuel's done?
Cop out. What are you, Tony Preckwinkle? Who said she's going to be the mayor?
That's the buzz around my neighborhood that she's going to be the next mayor.
No, she's not. She doesn't even want it. She doesn't want the job. If she wanted the job, she could have had it in April of this year, or frankly, February of this year. She could have probably avoided a runoff and dispatched Rahm. She doesn't want it. Here's the thing. California, when Gray Davis was recalled, it was about, we need to get rid of Gray Davis. When you have cancer, here's what you do. You remove the cancerous tumor. Then you figure out what life is going to look like afterwards. And to the Gray Davis comparison, now he turned out to be a train wreck of a governor, but no more than Gray Davis. You actually got a Republican elected governor of California, you'll recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The point is this. You'll have a lot of people compete for an open seat in a special election were Rahm removed. What comes after Rahm is a cop-out. It is the indicia of cowardice. It is people hiding.
Okay, what's a good, strong Republican candidate that could run for mayor?
Don't care. I'm not having the conversation. I'm not having the conversation about who comes after Rahm. This is about recall Rahm. This is about Rahm's head on a stick outside City Hall. And nothing, I refuse to talk about anything else until that is accomplished, until we get a floor vote in the House and in the Senate, and it's sent to Governor Rauner's desk to institute a recall protocol for the city of Chicago so that people who want to recall their elected officials, mayor, alderman, now in the future, have that option, that opportunity.
Will Governor Rauner sign it?
I don't know.
Considering he's really good friends with Mayor Emanuel.
We'll see.
And then we still have to get 88,000 signatures. That would be
give me
easy.
a break. That would happen overnight.
Yeah.
So that is a cop. Call Jim Durkin, the House super minority leader. Call Christine Radogno's office, the Senate super minority leader. Remind them why they're in the super minority. Because they routinely shrink from the moment. And that's what Republicans are doing now.
Well, why are they running from this? Why aren't they embracing this? Why aren't they having press conferences and joining forces saying we are going to stand behind LaShawn Ford's proposed legislation and we want to co-author it? Why? Is everyone on vacation, Christmas vacation early? I mean, what?
Let me tell you something about Springfield. The bad news is they're all cowards. Most of them, not all. Most of them are cowards. And the good news is most of them are cowards. In other words, they respond to pressure. They respond to pressure. This is what the left grassroots understands so much better than the right. This is not about intellectual arguments from most of them. There are some people of principle down there who come to the General Assembly with a worldview, trying to advance an economic liberty policy agenda, for example. But most of them are careerists. The best way to get them to respond is to put the end of their career in front of their faces and say, you can make whatever choice you want, but understand this. If you make this choice, your career is over. So go ahead, make whatever choice you want. That's the kind of pressure that needs to be brought to bear, certainly with Democrats on the left. But, that's their own problem. as they're beset by this and exposed as mere minions of Madigan and Cullerton and even Rahm. And even at this moment,
Yeah, they're afraid of Rahm.
Republicans have an opportunity and and frankly, a moral obligation. Moral obligation first, political opportunity second. Are they going to miss it yet again? I mentioned this before, but it's a lesson I learned long ago thanks to my friend Deborah Rowe, African-American former radio talk show host at WLS and elsewhere. Republicans want to kind of reestablish the ties that bind in the African-American community, the party that was founded on the principle of abolishing slavery. You want to reestablish those ties? Then stand up when you should stand up. This is a time to stand up. If you don't have the courage to stand up to a decimated, tiny dancer, Democrat power broker, Obama White House chief of staff, Clinton Flack, Tammy Duckworth sponsor, if you as a Republican in this state don't have the temerity to support a movement started by African-American state legislator LaShawn Ford and sign on as a co-sponsor to voice your support for changing Chicago, the new Chicago that Pastor Gregory Livingston talks about, then you deserve to be in the super minority. Then you deserve it.
Do they think that this is just going to go away?
I think they want it to go away. That's the problem. That's the problem.
They don't want to commit. They don't want to be on paper, have a record of committing to get rid of Rahm Emanuel because I'm just trying to think this thing through. Are they worried about retribution?
I think they're waiting. I mean, I think a lot of Republicans, including the leadership, Durkin and Redonia, are waiting to be told what to do by Rauner. That's what I think. Here's a good piece over the weekend by John Cass in the Tribune that every Republican should read, every Democrat should read, every member of the city council should read. Rahm Emanuel lost his grip on the city and he won't be reclaiming it. Rahm Emanuel has lost the city and he can't get it back, writes Cass. The stresses and fault lines have been growing for decades through the oafish and terrible management of Richard M. Daley. But Daley had his royal behind smooch for decades before he was unmasked with the parking meter deal. What happens to a boss who was never well-liked, a boss who only had limited and shallow support, a boss who is now weak and no longer feared? Rahm knows what happens. So does Chicago. I think that's true generally, maybe with an eye towards 2019, but we shouldn't wait and shouldn't have to wait till 2019 to have a market test for Tiny Dancer. Jason in Franklin Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, two things. Number one is I think unfortunately it's a waste of time. I don't think that there's going to get any support for this. I don't think it's going to pass. I don't even think Rauner would have the courage to sign it. And second of all is that didn't Gray Davis come back in California?
Come back to where?
Well, he got recalled. Doesn't California have somebody that's even worse now?
Well, they had
after Schwarzenegger.
Well, yeah, after Schwarzenegger, they have Moonbeam. Yeah, but I mean, but the point is, was Schwarzenegger worse than Gray Davis? No, but that's. Thanks for the call, Jason. But that's not the point. And the other thing in terms of this will never go anywhere. Wrong. The only way this won't go anywhere is if there's not pressure put on to make this a litmus test vote for every single legislator, and frankly, also those 50 trained SEALs in the city council in Chicago. But a litmus test for every legislator. If you allow Madigan to bottle the legislation up in the Rules Committee or Cullerton to do the same on the Senate side, and it's never called, so nobody ever has to decide on which side of history they want to be recorded as having stood, then you're right. Then it will go away. If this comes to a floor vote, the pressure, international pressure, will be immense. I think people are vastly underestimating the kind of pressure and scrutiny that will be brought to bear. And every legislator will know, most of them, this will be a career vote, either a career prolonger or a career ender. And that's where you want your legislators to be. You want them to be forced to do the right thing after all other options have been exhausted. Peggy on the north side.
You know, this is either the most brilliant or the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, could he possibly be right? Because what I've heard from most African Americans is hopeless. Nothing will ever change, and they can't get rid of their aldermen. They can't. And you say, well, they're crooked, they're corrupt. I know, but we can't get rid of them. And I'm thinking, that is a sense of hopelessness.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
everything.
And hopelessness is what the status quo counts on. So the question is, where you have people now ginned up because of what has happened over the last several weeks, and there is people actually acting in furtherance of their stated disgust. Now, isn't this the moment to build on that, to make this a snowball rolling downhill? Or are we just going to cop out and rationalize our inaction to ourselves yet again by saying, oh, nothing's going to change? Nothing's going to change if you don't do anything to change it. Change is a constant in this world.
Well,
It's
you know
going to
what?
change
You know
one
what
way or
you're
the other.
You know what you're calling for? This is the cry for courage.
Yes, that's correct.
Well put.
Thanks for the call, Peggy. It is a cry for courage. And for all of those who don't know what courage looks like and pretend to have other virtues, I'll refer you to C.S. Lewis. Courage is the formation of every virtue at its testing point. In other words, if you don't have courage, then you don't have any other virtue you proclaim to have, because when you are tested, you wilt. And it's time the General Assembly gets tested.
Well, I agree, Bill. And it would be like bringing up old nicknames that really weren't fair. And I know that you're not interested in referring to me as a Governor Moonbeam or a Spaceman Jerry or a Governor Spaceman or a Captain Weirdo.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Warm right now, 56 degrees at O'Hare, and the temperature is going to be falling throughout the day. The rain's moving out, too, and the cloud coverage will stay. Today, by the afternoon, we should have a temperature of 44 degrees. And then tomorrow, more of the same. It's going to be partly sunny, a crisp, cool day, a high, again, of 44. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The Kennedy is 52 minutes and rising from O'Hare to downtown. The express lane save nothing at the moment. Outbound an hour and 3 minutes downtown to the airport. Eden's 36 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 30. The Kennedy an hour and 2 minutes. Thorndale to downtown outbound 45 minutes. The Stevenson is an hour from 355 to Lakeshore Drive outbound 38 minutes. The Ryan 23 minutes 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive now has delays. Southbound from Belmont to Fullerton, northbound Balbo to Jackson, plus there's a crash at Montrose in the left lane. Northbound Tri-State slow 95th to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 47th. That's from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial jamming up now from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Slow Butterfield to Roosevelt, heavy around Army Trail. Northwest Indiana's fine. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Text from 708, Dan, you're getting all worked up over nothing. No way on earth Emmanuel will get recalled. Move on. I'm not moving on. You move on. Nonsense. That's the kind of failed thinking that gives us what we have in Chicago and Illinois. It's time for people to grow up and grow, what else. Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the faster they will begin to close in on you. Take control of your situation and stop the chase. John Doad of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm will help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you call John Doad. This is an attorney who is willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He has worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Stop being hunted by the IRS. Let John Doad of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm deal with the IRS personally. His proven system works. Call John today for your own relief plan. The number, 888-777-4193, or visit him online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR. We all have the same 24 hours in a day to make things happen, but some people seem to be better at getting things done. When it comes to growing your business, Entrepreneur.com says there are 3 good ways to spend your time: in thought, in conversation, or in action. As an entrepreneur, you're frequently interrupted or pulled in different directions. While you cannot eliminate interruptions, have a say on how much time you spend on them and how much time you'll spend on the thoughts, conversations, and activities that will lead you to success. As a general rule, spending 50% of your time on these items will get you results. While it may seem impossible to slog through your to-do list every day, making the time for activities that will get you where you want to go is time well spent. For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
AM 560, The Answer.
Bells will be ringing.
Well, time is quickly running out to help those in need this holiday season. AM 560, The Answer, partnering up with Feed the Children. Our goal this year is to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicago area. And just remember that needy families come from all walks of life. I mean, all it takes is a job loss, a medical change, a divorce, some unforeseen changes to put a previously affluent family in deep need. And the needy families you're helping might be from your very own neighborhood. So we're asking for a one-time donation of $76. You can make a donation on behalf of your well-fed children or grandchildren. And to make that donation, call this number, 866-435-2248. Again, it takes just a few minutes to help so many, 866-435-2248.
Yeah, we also have another way to participate and contribute, a special program for business owners or anyone involved in marketing a business. That's our Business Benefactor Program. With this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children receives 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. on AM 560 The Answer. All you do to enroll, support the program, and receive the 40 60-second commercials in return is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527, 847-871-1527. Just ask him about the Business Benefactor Program, and he'll get you in on it straight away. Or you can just text the word FEED to 64636. Again, FEED to 64636, our turnkey.pro text line, and you'll be prompted to enroll. And we want to thank so many of our businesses.
Oh, yeah, the list is long, Dan.
That are now business benefactors, including but not limited to Patient MD, Heartstrings, and hey, thanks for the chain, Heartstrings. I love it. Lifesavers Health and Safety Training, Access Master, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, Viking Ski Shop. Excuse me.
Don't mess with my people. It's the Viking Ski
That's
Shop.
right.
It's the only place to go if you need some fun hats.
Lockport Steel Fabricators, Air Filter Engineers, Chris Jacobs, Century 21 Affiliates, LW Lands Real Estate, Blue Peak Premium Tent and Event Rental, and on and on and on.
And it's a great way to reach sophisticated, affluent, like-minded listeners. If you've thought about advertising on the radio in the past, this is a great way to get your foot in the door and try it out. Really, you have nothing to lose. $2,500, tax deductible. All of the money goes to Feed the Children, and we will give you those 40 one-minute commercials. It's a way to introduce your products to the masses, take your business to the next level. So call Michael Mann. Do it sooner rather than later because slots are filling up. Michael Mann, 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
When I started on this, I stopped my blood pressure and my cholesterol medicine. My blood pressure after a week since then has been normal, and my bad cholesterol dropped 27 points in 3 weeks, and my overall cholesterol dropped like 25 points. So I'm good. So I'm not taking anything.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Hey guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Well, you can. And it's simple and easy with the gift of the world's softest pajamas, available exclusively at pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com. Created by a team of dedicated pajama experts. Yes, there are pajama experts out there. The world's softest pajamas are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. Talk about dreamy. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas feel. You'll love the way they caress her every curve. More than a gift, they're a feeling, an invitation, Dan, to linger just a little bit longer.
Meow.
The world's softest pajamas are available only at pajamagram.com. So visit today and give her a gift that keeps on giving to both of you. You don't even have to wrap because every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging. Christmas delivery is guaranteed. Visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs, 1-800-GIVE-PJs, and tell them that Dan and Amy sent you. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, I can't control myself.
Trump needs them now more than ever. Our two favorite pundits of the election cycle, none other than Diamond and Silk at 7:37.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We've had some light rain showers off and on throughout the morning. 56 degrees right now. Winds out of the south at 16. And we're following a developing story this morning as a firefighter in Chicago has died after falling through the second floor while battling a warehouse fire in South Chicago near 92nd and Baltimore.
Everybody to know, yes,
firefighter had to be
that
pulled from
we
the scene by
stand
crews
behind Donald J. Trump.
Yes, we do, baby. Christ Hospital, that firefighter, according to Chicago Fire's Dan Capuano,
we support Donald J. Trump. Yes.
And the father of three
And we
children.
endorse. We endorse
Teachers Union
Donald
announced
J.
whether a
Trump.
strike is on the horizon as soon as today. If the union has the votes to authorize it, it would be the second time in 4 years that teachers in the country's third largest district have walked out. A leading political expert says two Republican candidates have the most at stake during tomorrow night's debate.
And Trump. They're going to be going back and forth at one another. They're battling for Iowa. It's the first contest, and the other contestants on the stage there are just going to be trying to get a word in edgewise.
University of Virginia Center for Politics Director Larry Sabato, and the only place to hear those words here in Chicago on the radio, AM 560, beginning with the undercard debate around 5:30. Here's a Christmas present warning for you this morning. Amazon is pulling a number of hoverboards because of an increase in the self-balancing scooters catching fire. Meantime, a New Jersey lawyer is filing a class action lawsuit over the hoverboards. Joseph Santoli says he's suing both manufacturers and distributors because the hot holiday toys are literally, he says, too hot to handle.
The hoverboards are unreasonably dangerous and contain lithium batteries that are very prone to catching on fire.
Santoli claims there have been at least 10 reports of hoverboard fires, one just before Thanksgiving where a Louisiana family lost their home when a Fit Turbo caught fire inside their home. President Obama focuses on the war with ISIS today in a rare national security meeting outside the White House, this one at the Pentagon. Chicago sports, Washington over the Bears, 24-21. NHL, Blackhawks blank Vancouver 4-0. Patrick Kane extending his point streak to 26 games. And the news, a service of Compassion International. Almost 1 billion children around the world live in extreme poverty. You can change or even save the life of one of those kids when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
This is Amy Jacobson. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time. 800-489-0201 or online at mypillow.com. Promo code Amy. 800-489-0201.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated, and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
7:36 is our time. All that rain falling, probably slowdowns on the road. So let's get an update on those roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim.
That's right, Mike. It's very heavy now on the inbound Kennedy. An hour and 4 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 32 minutes from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 52 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens, 36 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 46 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42 minutes. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, now stop and go. Bryn Mawr, Fullerton. Northbound slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State slow, 95th most of the way to 31st. From Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway slow. Aurora Toll to Eola. Naperville Road to 3:55 and 83 to the Tri-State. Traffic service of Let Us Entertain You. Give the gift that fits all appetites. A Let Us Entertain You gift card. Receive a free $25 holiday bonus for every $100 in Lettuce gift cards you buy. Simply visit a Lettuce restaurant or LEYE.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, breezy. Showers around, mainly early this morning, high 58. 56 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Ayn Rand Institute and the Yaron Brook Show. Heard Saturday afternoons at 4 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Do your dance.
Do you remember this?
High steps, high steps, high steps.
You remember the leg warmers
Oh,
and
yeah,
the leotards? I mean, I certainly do.
They're coming back, too.
You have to tell me. You remember who sang this? 80s music trivia. Who is the king of 80s music trivia, Amy?
You, Dan Proft. All right, let me just ask you. Dan, who sings this song?
Michael Sembello.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
And it's appropriate because Donald Trump.
Hey, watch it there, buddy.
Donald Trump said Ted Cruz is a bit of a maniac when he got to the Senate, and Ted Cruz has already responded by sending Trump a copy of that song.
Did he?
So showing a little bit of good humor. Maybe Cruz will have him use that music to play him in at tomorrow night's CNN debate. We'll see.
Yes.
But Diamond and Silk.
They finally got to meet him, Dan. They're at a rally on Friday in North Carolina, and it happened.
Let's hear a little bit of that.
Oh, yes. I was so happy for them.
First of all, I'm glad that the media can see us and all. Silk, there they go. There they go. I see them. I want everybody to know, yes, that we stand behind Donald J. Trump. Yes, we do, baby. Yes. We support Donald J. Trump. Yes.
It was great. He invited them up on stage. Diamond and Silk each got their own microphone. He gave them a hug, and they spoke for a few seconds, but it was powerful.
I wonder if Donald Trump will try to amend the Constitution so he could have two running mates as his vice president. Trump/Diamond and Silk. That's the ticket in 2016, perhaps. And the aforesaid Diamond and Silk, DiamondandSilk.Inc.com. Join us now, Diamond and Silk. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
So Trump needs you now more than ever, Diamond and Silk, because Ted Cruz has taken over first place in Iowa, and he's closing in nationally. What do you think about Ted Cruz and his chances to displace your guy?
Listen, I don't believe that. I believe that the polls are lying. There's no way that somebody that only have about 40 people that they event could be leading in the polls, okay?
That's right.
So I don't believe that he's leading in the polls. I believe that Donald Trump is still leading nationally.
Yeah.
And, I'm really taken back by the fact that Cruz think that he can cruise off of Donald Trump's platform and think that we're going to, we've switched our party for him. Oh, no.
That's right.
We switched our party for one man and one man only, and that's Donald J. Trump. So the establishment, the GOP, and all the rest of them better hope
Ladies,
that Donald Trump is the nominee.
Yeah, what was it like to finally meet him? And I saw that wonderful hug you gave him.
Oh, it was phenomenal meeting him. Oh, listen. He is the most humble, meekest. He pays attention. He listens to you when you talk. We got in VIP style.
Of course we did.
Yeah, so we was able to meet him backstage first. And then we didn't know we were going on the stage.
And then there was that diamond and silk sandwich on stage, which was a seminal moment in the history of American politics, let me tell you.
Yeah, we didn't know all of that was going to happen, but we had a phenomenal time. And I'm gonna tell y'all, once he becomes president, we are going to have one of the coolest. He's gonna pay attention to what our needs are, and we're just gonna have a phenomenal president, y'all. Once he get in office, we love him.
Now, many people have taken you to task saying that Donald Trump is racist. How could you, as two African American women, be supporting Donald Trump? And what is your response?
That's a lie. How can you call a man out of his name? This is the same man that helped Jennifer Hudson when her mother got gunned down.
That's right.
Jennifer Hudson is black. He put her up in his Trump Tower. And she didn't have to even pay any rent, and then gave her security. Or what about that black guy that was driving that bus? What was his name? I can't remember his name. Daryl Barton. He was driving a bus across a bridge and spotted a woman. She was about to commit suicide. He pulled over his bus to help that woman. Donald Trump saw that story on TV and sent that man a $10,000 check. So when people call him, don't call him out of his name. If you say something about Donald Trump, tell us how he wants to make this place great again and fix it where everybody can thrive, and how he wants to protect the American people. That's what people should be talking about.
Is it fair to say that if you insult Donald Trump, you insult Diamond and Silk?
That's right. Yes. You know how the media, they take one thing and they spin it. All this man said, he said, put a temporary ban. Let's protect Americans. Let's see who's coming in our country. Why doesn't any of these politicians have common sense to say, wait a minute, we got to protect the American people first. Right. We matter first. And this man is trying to make sure that the American people are secured.
Now, I don't want to bring down the interview, but I did get a text message from somebody saying, is this a comedy act, or are you guys really, truly Trump supporters?
We are really, truly Trump supporters. Listen, I've been on the Trump train since he announced that he was running for president.
That's right. Sorry, I'm stepping on Silk's lines. I'm sorry.
And I never would have made the first video about Trump had the media not started attacking him and calling him out of his name. Every time I turn around, they have something negative to say. Talk about the positive. Talk about how our country been in a slump and how it's time for it to come up. Talk about his policies, how it's going to work for everybody. But they want to take one thing and spin it out of control. Hey, don't believe the media hype. And remember, anything that they fear, they smear. And so they fear him. That's why they're trying to smear him.
They smear. That's why they're the best pundits in the business, folks. Anything they fear, they smear. You've encapsulated the media in one rhythmic line. I love it. Diamond and Silk, let me ask you a question. When President Obama says some of what Trump has proposed is not in line with American values, how do you react to that?
Well, listen, some of what they're proposing is not in line with American values. How can you keep America's house open and let anybody come over here and gun us down and want to cut our heads off? How can you say you love us as American people and not want to keep us safe and secure? So I beg to differ. Listen, Obama is on his way out of office. I don't even really want to hear nothing else he got to say. We need something new. We need something fresh, baby. We need somebody that's going to come in, going to make real change and make a real change for all people and make this here an even playing field where everybody can thrive again in this country.
We need Donald Trump.
That's who we need.
Now, in your latest video called Table Talk, Episode 6, Donald Trump, the media, and why Rahm Emanuel, our mayor, must step down.
He surely he got to go. Listen, he been playing politics for so long, and you're not worried about concerned about the need of the people, but your own greed. And people are tired of that. People are tired of living in impoverished areas, not having jobs. So while you sitting up there on your phone doing nothing, too much stuff has happened. You got black people killing black people on his watch. You got all kinds of things happening. So much things happening on his watch. He is not able and equipped to lead, and he's a Democrat. You know, I'm really cities down in the ground. It shouldn't be two types of Chicago. It should be one type, and it should be beautiful all over.
There you go. Now, first Ronnie Woo Woo, now Diamond and Silk calling for Tiny Dancer's resignation. I love it. By the way, you guys can use that Tiny Dancer. I'm trying to popularize that as Ron's nickname.
Because he's a ballet dancer.
And he's like a little Shetland person. He's like a little tiny. He's like Tom Thumb size. Diamond and Silk. What about tomorrow night's debate? What do you want to see from Trump as he tries to fend off Cruz and Rubio?
Look, I want Donald Trump to be himself. That's right. Don't change nothing. Who you are. But if they come at you the wrong way, set them straight. That's right. That's all I expect for him to do. He'll be okay.
All right, do you guys have any plans of meeting him again in the future?
Oh, who knows? We don't know, but I'll tell you what, we're going to set ourselves up so we can look at this debate and let me see who's being naughty and who's being nice, and whoever is being naughty, they will hear about it on the next day on our tape.
Oh.
That's right, baby, yes.
And now listen, with respect to the debate and as this proceeds, as this has proceeded, I should say, how have you been received? I know Amy mentioned some people saying, "Oh, you should be with the Democrats because you're African American." But are you getting feedback from others who say, "Yeah, it's about time we think a second time, think differently"? And I'm glad that you guys are out there making the case for Trump and making the case to think differently.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We're getting a lot of support. Like, good that you all can think for yourself. Yeah. You know, you're going to always have the liberals that don't like what you do. Mm-hmm. But you got some people coming off that liberal mindset, the Democratic plantation, say, you know what, you're right. We do need to think for ourselves. Let's think outside the box. Let's get somebody in where we can thrive.
And they're starting to go to ditchandswitchnow.com to change their parties from Democrats and independents to Republican, just to vote for Donald Trump in the primary.
So he got them crossing party lines, baby. He's uniting. Yeah.
Ditchandswitch.com.
Ditch and switch now.
Ditchandswitchnow.com. More rhythm from Diamond and Silk. Ditchandswitchnow.com. And then, of course, diamondandsilkinc.com.
Yeah. And then you could also follow them on Twitter, Diamond and Silk.
You don't have to tell me, baby.
You ladies should follow us on Twitter.
Okay, we'll follow you on Twitter. We will. Yes, we will.
Now, Diamond and Silk, in your conversations with Trump the other day, what was the discussion in terms of the role that you will play in the administration? If you can't be his running mate, if you can't be his running mates, I should say plural, then maybe a joint press secretaries. What do you think?
Well, listen, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. All I know is right now. Right now, we want him to be president, and we want people to stop believing the media hype, and let's look at his policies and listen to what he's really saying. Yeah. He wants to work for America, but first, he got to make America. In order to make America great, you got to secure our home. You can't have people just walking up in our home and we don't know who they are.
That's right.
That's right, baby. All right, Diamond and Silk, diamondandsilkinc.com, ditchandswitchnow.com. Diamond and Silk, ladies, thanks as always for joining us. Always entertaining.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great day. And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Oh, man, that's cold. I'm a maniac on the floor, and I'm dancing like I've never danced before.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Why?
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Ooh, I love those ladies.
Anything they fear, they smear. My new tagline.
Today it's going to be, we have already hit our high, actually, of 58 degrees. The temperature is going to be falling throughout the day. We will have cloudy skies. And then tomorrow, partly sunny, a cool, crisp day, a high of 44 degrees. Let's see how the outbound Kennedy is doing. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Outbound, Amy, it's actually improving a little bit. It's still heavy at 50 minutes from downtown to the airport and 26 minutes to get to Montrose. But inbound, now an hour and 5 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 33 minutes from Montrose and 30 in the Express. The Ohio feeder's heavy. Inbound Edens, 33 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 32. The Eisenhower, an hour and 11 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, 51 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 46 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42 minutes. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow 95th most of the way to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway heavy, Roselle to Meacham, and from the Des Plaines Oasis to Kennedy. Reagan Tollway stop and go 31 to Eola, and 22nd to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
If you have a home to sell that lists between $250,000 and $500,000, Saul Z and the Z team have buyers lined up and ready to pay top dollar so you don't leave money on the table. Saul and his team are so confident that if 29 days pass without a sale, Saul will buy your home or help you rent it. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything because if you aren't happy, you just cancel the contract. He can offer that because Saul spends thousands of dollars every month to create demand so you get top dollar. For example, Richard from Addison listed his home with another agent who couldn't sell it. He heard about Saul Z and the Z team's advanced marketing strategy from Sean Hannity and yours truly, who listed it for $265,000 and sold it quickly for $14,000 over the asking price. Make Saul Z your first call. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked Saul number 106 out of over 1.2 million agents. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell or buy a new home. So go to Call Saul. That's callsaul, SAUL.net. To get your home sold fast at a great price. Don't leave money on the table. You can also call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666, or visit him online at callsaul.net and start packing.
America has a serious narcotics problem. 90% of the world's narcotics are taken by Americans. They have a place, but when you're dealing with chronic pain, pain that doesn't go away or which frequently returns, there is a better way. You're masking the pain. We help you find and deal with the source of the chronic pain to get real relief. This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in pain. Our team are national leaders and we're educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. Contact us. We will help you. You don't have to live with chronic pain. We treat all pain. We don't mask it with painkillers and narcotics that are not good for you and which can be addictive. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Just a hint of peppermint in every Hey, if you are a small business owner, if you do the marketing for your company, we want to tell you about our Business Benefactor Program. We here at AM 560 have teamed up with Feed the Children. It's a charity that helps feed kids in and around the Chicago area this holiday season. And what we're doing is giving you an opportunity to advertise here. So for $2,500, it's tax deductible. All of the money goes to Feed the Children. And as a way of saying thank you, we'll give you 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer. It really is a way to take your small business to the next level while helping the needy in our community. To become a part of this program, call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. I can't stress enough, you should do it sooner rather than later because slots are filling up quickly. Viking Ski Shop, Heil & Heil Insurance, Alliance Home Services, Inc., just to name a few. So you want to be like the cool kids. You want to be a business benefactor. Call Michael Mann right now, 847-871-1527. Again, that number, 847-871-1527. And we thank you in advance for your generosity.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
American schools are mass-producing students who are not only largely ignorant of history, science, literature, and geography, but also unable to read, write, or add properly. Among the world's 34 richest countries, the U.S. is ranked 27th in math, 20th in science, and 17th in reading. America's educational crisis is no coincidence. Progressive education says that teaching children how to express themselves and get along with others is more important than teaching them facts or developing their ability to think rationally and independently. If you'd like to know more about the philosophical cause and solution of America's educational crisis, check out Teaching Johnny to Think, a philosophy of education based on the principles of Ayn Rand's objectivism by Leonard Peikoff at ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current. This week, we'll feature Congressman Peter Roskam. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
You don't have to be a retail giant or government agency to be the victim of a costly data breach. If you run a website and collect customer data, your small to mid-sized business is just as likely to be targeted by hackers. The Barracuda Web Application Firewall provides cost-effective instant security against automated and targeted attacks, making this WAF a must-have for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda Web App Firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/WAF.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, Tim Carney, senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner, joins us to talk about the price of Obamacare for middle-income families, as well as a preview Tuesday night's debate.
And everyone has demands, including Laquan's family. We'll explain. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a verdict expected today in the trial of a Chicago police commander in a brutality trial. An NIU student fatally shot on the south side. The latest on that investigation in the death of a Chicago firefighter this morning. Cloudy and breezy with showers around, mainly early in the day. We'll top out at 58. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. The commander-in-chief will soon head to the Pentagon. And the focus? The fight against ISIS. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president's meeting at the Pentagon with his national security team is aimed primarily at allaying Americans' concerns about the growing domestic and global terror threat posed by ISIS. No new significant strategy changes are expected to be announced, although the president is likely to further explain his plan to defeat ISIS. Despite the president's reassurances, Republicans say he has failed to grasp the severity of the risk. A recent AP poll found that 7 7 in 10 Americans rated the risk of a terrorist attack in the U.S. as at least somewhat high. Dave?
John, we still don't know yet what FBI divers pulled out of a lake near the San Bernardino massacre site, anything the killers might have dumped. Republican Senator Richard Burr says we need to find out
who they talked to, where they went. They didn't just overnight learn how to make 19 pipe bombs.
The FBI is probing graffiti at 2 mosques in Hawthorne, California as a possible hate crime. A fake grenade was also found. 33 bullets are getting a lot of attention in Los Angeles after sheriff's deputies shot and killed an armed man over the weekend. Fox's Tanya J. Powers details the case live.
Police were called to the area after witnesses reported seeing Nicholas Robertson firing a gun into the air. He was walking across a busy street toward a gas station. Officers ordered him to drop the gun, but he refused, even pointing it in the deputy's direction.
He was acting, he was described as oddly and in a bizarre fashion. He was yelling out some expletives.
That's L.A. County Captain Steve Katz. His mother-in-law, Robertson's mother-in-law, asking police why they didn't use a taser on him instead, Dave.
Tanya, Ted Cruz now leading the Republican race for president, topping 2 polls and 5 points back of Donald Trump in a new Wall Street Journal NBC national poll. Trump calls him a little bit of a maniac. Marco Rubio tells NBC.
Each time he's had to choose between strong national defense and some of the isolationist tendencies in American politics, he seems to side with the isolationists. And this is an important issue to have a debate over.
Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 56 degrees. Some rain showers in the area. Winds out of the south at 17 at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The firefighter has died after falling through a second floor down a shaft, battling a warehouse fire in South Chicago. That firefighter had to be pulled from the scene by crews who performed CPR on the scene before sending him to Christ Hospital. The firefighter, Dan Capuano, 42, was injured about 20 minutes after crews were called to that vacant warehouse at 92nd in Baltimore around 2:40 p.m. Capuano was a 14-year veteran of the department. Chicago Teachers Union may announce whether a strike is on the horizon later today. If the union has the votes, it would be the second time in 4 years that teachers in the country's third largest school district have walked out. Chicago police say a car that struck a van over the weekend and killed 1 person was stolen. 12 others were hurt. The accident happened late Saturday night near 71st and Carpenter. A Cook County judge is expected to rule today in the case of a black Chicago police commander accused of brutality. Prosecutors say Glenn Evans placed his gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. The leader of the College of DuPage Board of Trustees has resigned, citing only personal reasons for her abrupt departure. Chairwoman Catherine Hamilton says she was resigning effective immediately in a letter emailed Sunday to interim President Joseph Collins and the remaining trustees. Chicago sports, NFL, Washington over the Bears 24-21. On the ice, Blackhawks over Vancouver 4-0. Patrick Kane extending his point streak to 26 games. The news, a service of Compassion International. Almost 1 billion children around the world live in extreme poverty. You can change or even save the life of one of those kids when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how you can help at compassion.com/radio. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Pat O'Neill.
From the Fox Business Network, Wall Street will try to shake off last week's huge losses when trading gets underway. The Dow tumbled more than 300 points Friday. Stock futures are higher but have eased back a bit amid lower oil prices. Crude slumped below $35 a barrel for the first time since early 2009. Concerns that this weekend's global climate deal will hurt long-term demand are adding to previous oversupply worries. European markets are lower. Asian markets were mostly lower. The Fed widely expected this week to nudge up interest rates for the first time in nearly a decade. Cuba and a big agreement over unpaid debt going back 25 years. Creditors will cancel $8.5 billion of overdue interest, Cuba promising to pay off $2.6 billion over the next 18 years. And Newell Rubbermaid is buying Jarden in a deal that will create a $16 billion company. Consumer brands include Papermate, Sharpie, Elmer's, and Rubbermaid, among others. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Pat O'Neill.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hey, Chicagoland, Dave Ramsey here. For the last 20 plus years, we've helped millions of people get their financial lives in order. And now, for the first time ever, we're bringing our Smart Money Tour to you. Financial expert Chris Hogan and I will be at Willow Creek Church on January 12th. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck or wondering what you're going to do when retirement comes around, don't miss this event. Get your seats today at DaveRamsey.com.
Sponsored in part by ImageOneChicago.com.
SquareTrade does not cover lost or stolen items. Savings based on 2-year iPhone plan with one claim compared to Asurion total equipment coverage as of August 10, 2015.
Getting a new iPhone? Get this. Every 2 seconds, one of us accidentally breaks our phone. So protecting all the phones in your family is a smart idea. But if you have insurance through your wireless carrier, you're paying way too much. I'm Steve Abernethy, and I founded SquareTrade to give you a better choice. Phone insurance through your wireless carrier can cost as much as $11 a month. For a family of 4, that's $44 every month. Plus, up to a $199 deductible when you break your phone. SquareTrade family protection plans cost less than $4 a month per phone with a much lower deductible. We can save your family over $500. Whether you've got a new iPhone or any other smartphone, stop overpaying for phone insurance and protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade instead.
Protect all the phones in your family with SquareTrade and save over $500. Visit SquareTrade.com. That's SquareTrade.com.
8:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy has heavy delays from Harlem to the Burns Circle. It's an hour and 10 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 40 minutes from Montrose, 33 in the Express, outbound 44 minutes to the airport. Edens, 30 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 36. The Eisenhower, an hour and 11 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 46 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42 minutes. Orion is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown, southbound Lakeshore Drive. It's stop and go Bryn Mawr to Fullerton, northbound slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State slow 95th to 47th, Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial, it is stop and go from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, the Army Trail toll to 290. See delays on the westbound Adams Tollway, Devon toll to Lee, and Roselle to Barrington, where there's a stall in the right lane. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy today with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Showers around mainly early in the day, high 55, then mostly cloudy through the night, low 39. Sunshine and patchy clouds tomorrow, high 44. Low clouds with a shower in spots at night, low of 40. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
56 and some light rain showers at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Today, the American people can be proud because this historic agreement is a tribute to American leadership. Over the past 7 years, we've transformed the United States into the global leader in fighting climate change.
But there's no penalty for it, obviously. But if there had been a penalty, we wouldn't have been able to get an agreement.
Mr. President, I want you to send a representative from the White House to North Lawndale to convene a White House summit on gun violence and urban poverty and police brutality.
We just believe Ted Cruz has been consistent in his character, with his principles, his conservative convictions. I really believe he has what it takes to go the distance, and he can be an effective standard bearer for us.
Look, I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? Lots to talk about, and I want to get to Harris and what John Kerry had to say about border security on Meet the Press, and tomorrow night's debate, and President Obama's meeting at the Pentagon this morning. That should be really interesting.
Yeah.
But first, there's this. Let's not forget some of these other issues too that drive quality of life in this country. They're important in the context of the presidential campaign. One of them is Obamacare. Remember that?
I remember.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah, people are starting to realize the real-world implications of Obamacare. There was an excellent editorial over the weekend in Investors Business Daily by Jed Graham, borrowing off the CBO analysis of Obamacare last week. We talked about it last week, the CBO analysis that found that the law's expansion of Medicaid and provision of insurance subsidies was projected to cut the labor supply by the equivalent of 2 million full-time workers in the next decade. That's a big number. That's a macro number. Here's a micro number. Obama's working class pill, or middle income families, those that make 250% of poverty level or more. So you're talking about like household incomes of around 65 grand. Not talking about rich people. That universe, just above 250% of poverty level, effective marginal rate with Obamacare, 70%.
Wow.
70%. A family of four that earns an extra $11,800 will, in effect, have to give back about $8,200 in taxes because the premium subsidies, the cost-sharing subsidies, after 250% of poverty level, so again, 65 grand household income, they fall off the shelf. CBO says that the loss of cost-sharing subsidies as families move from 175% of poverty level to 225% of poverty level adds another 16 percentage points to their marginal tax rate. These are big numbers for people that are middle-income families, and it's something that should be part of our conversation in the presidential campaign context. For more on that and the other matters I mentioned, let's go to Tim Carney, who's a senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
So, amid all the conversation about whether Muslims should or should not be allowed in this country and how many and what the vetting protocol is going to be, and those are serious issues, of course, we have serious economic issues that have taken kind of a back seat, the implementation and real-world impact of Obamacare being one of them.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, there's all sorts of things going on with Obamacare that are flying under the radar these days. And one of them, you have United Health sort of begging off of the exchanges, not for this coming year, but for the following year, making it clear that the population there is sicker than they had thought. And so all these companies, health companies that had seen tons of profits and all that in Obamacare are now peeling off. And the marginal tax rate story that you were talking about, that's not like a surprise. That's not something that developed. That's the basic math of what happens when you hand out these subsidies that are based on income, is that it punishes people more or less for working and pulling themselves up by their own labor and their own promotion through jobs, and that is really going to have an effect on the economy and get in the way of mobility. All those things fly under the radar because now we're worried about presidential elections, Iowa, terrorism, and even what Congress is doing, people aren't paying attention to right now.
Is there anything positive about Obamacare?
So if you are somebody who wasn't able to afford health care, it's easier to afford health care. So that's somebody who's just above the Medicaid threshold. Some of those people get brought into Medicaid, which isn't great, but it's better than not having health insurance. And some people sort of just above that threshold. If you just take a snapshot of their 2015, they were better off because they had health insurance. It's the numbers that you guys were citing. If you take a step back and you realize now they're in a situation where a slight raise or a second person working doesn't significantly increase their take-home pay, that's when you realize that the improvement that comes in the still picture snapshot of 2014 or 2015 doesn't necessarily translate into a big gain over their life.
And this is, to me, part of the Trump appeal. You have President Obama pummeling middle-income families through Obamacare and myriad other policies, and the Republicans seeming to roll over on the issue, with perhaps the exception of Ted Cruz. And here comes Donald Trump to say a pox on both your houses, and I'm going to fight for middle-income families. And it turns out middle-income families, particularly those that are blue-collar in nature, form the base of Trump's support.
That's right. And it's been, I think, the biggest oversight, biggest mistake of Republicans that they have. I mean, you remember Mitt Romney's 47% remarks. When he said that, I said, this guy's done. Not because those remarks hurt him so much, but because they reflected that he still thought in the sort of silly old idea that rich people are all going to vote Republicans and poor people are all going to vote Democrats, and that maybe we're fighting over the upper middle class or the middle class or something like that. And the fact is that Republicans have been losing the upper, here Montgomery County, Maryland, over in Chicago, the Winnetka, North Shore. They've been losing those votes to Democrats and not picking up the middle class, working class that the Reagan Democrats, or there are some guys who go out there and get those votes, whether it's Jeff Sessions in Alabama or Pat Toomey in Pennsylvania, but the party leadership has forgotten about those voters. Immigration is an issue where the party leadership is on one side and where the working class is on another, and they're not going to come over to a Republican Party that's a party of the elites. Trump is tapping into that working class feeling better than anybody else.
So in tomorrow night's fifth GOP debate, what kind of Donald Trump do you think is going to show up? Is he going to be cantankerous? Is he going to just lay low and let others try and make a name or not make a name for themselves?
So this is a little different because Trump is now behind, and significantly, in two of the last three Iowa polls, with Ted Cruz winning. And Trump is going to attack Cruz in the way that he's attacked Jeb Bush and Ben Carson in the past. But Cruz's approach to this is funny, which is to not fight back and to sort of laugh and give Trump a big hug and not fight back. So that will be the interesting dynamic. Will Cruz be able to do that in a convincing way? Will he feel he has to punch back? But yeah, I think you'll see Trump, and he'll attack the media a little more vociferously because now that he's behind in the polls, he has to claim that these polls are bogus. That's sort of the way his reason for running for office is that he's the best. He doesn't have much in the way of a policy argument. So he says, I'm number one. But when he's not number one in Iowa, and in the New Hampshire poll he's not number one, Rubio is, he's going to have to take on a different tone. I expect you'll see him mostly attack Cruz, and there's no predicting exactly how Cruz will react.
Oh, wait, did you say Rubio is number one in New Hampshire?
One of the recent New Hampshire polls, if you look at the likely voters, it goes to Rubio. If you look at all registered Republicans, it's still Trump. And that's I wrote a piece at the Examiner recently on that where I said I think Trump will fade away, and it's because as you study the polls, as it becomes more and more likely voters and less just simply registered Republicans, Trump falls because his support isn't. Some people think it's on the left. Some people say, it's hard right supporters for Trump. That's not true. It's spread all across the ideological spectrum, and a lot of those people aren't actually going to be Republican primary voters. And so as you get down to likely voter polls, whether it's Iowa or New Hampshire, you really see Trump drop and a guy like Rubio move up in New Hampshire, and certainly Ted Cruz is at the top of likely voter polls in Iowa.
Yeah, Trump definitely has to expand the universe of participants. So talking to Tim Carney, senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner. Tim, John Kerry yesterday on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, they were talking about the Paris Agreement, of course, but at the end they turned the conversation to border security, particularly in light of the fact that the female terrorist in San Bernardino had passed 3 visa screenings despite posting jihadi messages on Facebook during that process. And John Kerry said this, and it hasn't been picked up by anyone except me, and I wonder why not. Maybe somebody will pick it up for the debate tomorrow. John Kerry said, look, we know who's coming into this country for the most part. For the most part, the obvious question is, how big is the part that you don't know? Because that is really a qualifier that I don't think makes anyone feel confident about border security, national security in the context of this regime. Seems like something that Trump and other Republicans could seize upon.
It's exactly right. And in fact, it's something that is far beyond Trump seizing upon it. Every other Republican could as well, even to the most libertarian Republican on that stage, Rand Paul, could just say, look, the fundamental role of our government is to keep us safe. And we ought to, I mean, my view and a sort of Rand Paul view is we ought to let as many people as we can in as long as we have a reasonable idea that they're not going to be terrorists or mass murderers. And now it seems that we know that for the most part they're not terrorists or mass murderers, and guess what? That's not enough. And so that, if anything is going to get sort of a widespread, not just a narrow, but a widespread resistance to more immigration, it's going to be exactly that idea that we cannot reasonably expect that our government is going to screen out potential terrorists, and that the people who did what they did in Paris with that massacre, that those sort of people could get here. That idea is the biggest motivation I could imagine for a broad public support for clamping down on the borders.
So what do you expect out of the president's meeting? He's going to the Pentagon this morning. That's unusual. Going to meet with military leaders. Do you expect him to come out and do kind of what he continues to do, including with his address last week? Met with them. We're all on the same page. Restate what he's been doing, which is kind of no change in policy despite the deterioration in the fight against ISIS, and continue to try and run out the clock.
See, I think I was shocked by President Obama's his Oval Office statement last week, because I've always thought of him as a smart guy, and I think what he's doing now, but I might be wrong, I might be giving him too much credit. I think what he's doing now is he's realized that he has no strategy and he needs to have a strategy, but he at the same time doesn't want to admit that he has no strategy, and he's scrambling to come up with one while pretending that he's not coming up with one. I remember doing that in school, where my teacher would say, oh, how's that report coming along that I had assigned a month ago and is due in a week? Oh, it's coming great. And then you have to scramble and do it while pretend that you're not scrambling. I hope that's what President Obama is doing. The alternative is that he thinks that his current approach, which is disorganized, unfocused, and pretty weak, that he thinks that that's adequate, and he's just making it look like he's doing something.
All right, he is Tim Carney, senior political columnist for the Washington Examiner. Tim, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I love this text message. Diamond and silk for State Department spokespeople.
Better than Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah. Here's your forecast for today. We've already hit our high of 58 degrees. Temperature is going to be falling throughout the day. And then tonight into the 30s we go. And tomorrow partly sunny, cooler, a high of 44. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Inbound Kennedy jammed Harlem to the Burn Circle, an hour and 10 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 40 minutes from Montrose, 28 in the Express, outbound 41 to the airport. Edens, 27 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, but outbound 41. The Eisenhower's, an hour and 10 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 51 minutes from Manheim, outbound 57 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42 minutes. The Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State. Stop and go, 95th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway now jammed, Barrington Road to Meacham. Reagan Tollway slow from 22nd to the Tri-State and the Veterans Memorial. Very slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to St. Charles, and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
As we all know, Christmas, holiday season's right around the corner, and give a gift of a great night's sleep. I'm talking about a pillow from MyPillow. It conforms to your neck and back and helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, it's washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. And if you go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows right now for the price of one. Now, this is for a limited time, so do it. 2 pillows for the price of one, plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. Visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
AM 560, The Answer.
'Tis the season for buying gifts for people, and also you can give a gift that would help people in need, people in your community, in your neighborhood. Maybe they live on your street who've fallen upon some rough times and they need to take advantage of certain food pantries that are available to them. And that's why we've teamed up with Feed the Children again this year, because what's raised here stays here. And our goal this year is to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicagoland area this holiday season. And we're asking for a one-time donation of $76. Guess what? That will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. And it's so easy to make a big difference. Just call this number, 866-435-2248. Any amount would be great, but operators are standing by, and it takes just a few minutes to help so many.
That's one way to give. The other way is by participating in our business benefactor program, like so many businesses have, Amy.
Yeah,
like
who are the cool kids?
Charles Equipment, Express Pros, Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, St. Timothy Lutheran Church of Lombard, North State Seal, Franciscan Outreach, Strata Contractors, Inspire Realty Partners, Tallgrass Restoration, Meg Schmidt Consulting, Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, and on and on and on. All business benefactors who've made a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children and will receive 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so prime broadcasting hours, on this station, AM 560 The Answer. Do what they did. Call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527 and ask for the business benefactor program, and he'll get you enrolled as he did with those other companies. Or you can just text the word FEED to 64636.
If you've thought about advertising on radio in the past, this is really a great way to get your foot in the door and try it out. You have nothing to lose. $2,500. All of the money goes to Feed the Children, and we will give you those 40, 60-second commercials. You know, a lot of people contacted me via Twitter over the weekend and asked about our business benefactor program, and I directed them to Michael Mann. He's the sales manager who's in charge. He will answer all your questions, big or small. He's the guy, Michael Mann, 847-871-1527. Again, that number, 847-871-1527. Slots are filling up quickly, so you want to do this today. Again, call Michael Mann at 847-871-1527.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
There were times I was finding myself almost falling asleep at the wheel, that I had to pull over. That's the first thing I noticed, that hasn't happened since I've been taking Balance of Nature. I'm in sales, so I do a lot of walking during the day that would tire me out. I'm not as fatigued. I feel good.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current, this week with Congressman Peter Roskam. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders offering in-depth insights on the big issues of the day. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy, with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and the Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, No punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Hey, if you want to experience something completely different this Christmas season, then take your loved one to hear the music of Frank Sinatra and the rest of the Rat Pack from award-winning entertainer Ron Hawking. This Christmas spectacular will be taking place one night only, Sunday, December 20th, at Austin's Fuel Room in Libertyville. To learn more, visit 560theanswer.com. Search for the keyword Sinatra. But guess what? Right now, be caller number 100, because it would have been Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday over the weekend, but we're not going to do that to Caesar. Be caller number 10 to 312-642-5600 to win a pair of tickets to see Ron Hawking, who's a winning entertainer and impressionist. He does a wonderful version of Frank Sinatra. You're not going to want to miss it. Caller 10 right now, 312-642-5600 will win a pair of tickets.
Coming up after we check the headlines with Mike Scott, why did Kathy Hamilton, the board chairman at COD, resign, and why won't Rahm? We'll have that at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Frank and I shared a birthday over the weekend. He still sounds better than I. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
I sound awfully good for 100, don't I?
You must Botox.
Yes, I do. 56 degrees outside, rain showers, and I'll wrinkle later today. President Obama holding a national security meeting on combating ISIS today at the Pentagon. On Thursday, the president will travel to the National Counterterror Center for a briefing on homeland security threats. Republican presidential frontrunners Donald Trump and Ted Cruz running hard on Twitter this morning. The billionaire real estate developer and the Texas senator have been tweeting shots since last Friday, actually, with the negativity ramping up yesterday with Trump on Fox News Sunday.
You look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way.
Republican presidential candidate John Kasich says, from his perspective, he's not concerned about Trump's dominance in the polls.
I'm in this race for one basic reason. I know how to get the economy moving again, and I know what we need to do at national security.
The Ohio governor on Face the Nation, a leading political expert, saying the two Republican candidates have the most at stake during tomorrow night's debate.
Cruz and Trump, they're going to be going back and forth at one another. They're battling for Iowa. It's the first contest, and the other contestants on the stage, they are just going to be trying to get a word in edgewise.
University of Virginia Center for Politics director Larry Sabato, AM 560, covering both the primetime and undercard debates on CNN. The only place you'll hear it on the radio is right here on AM 560, beginning about 5:30. A Chicago firefighter has died after falling through the second floor while battling a warehouse fire in South Chicago. Dan Capuano, 42, was pronounced dead at Christ Hospital. They were battling a vacant warehouse fire at 92nd in Baltimore when Capuano fell down a abandoned elevator shaft. He was a 14-year veteran of the Chicago Fire Department. Chicago Teachers Union may announce whether a strike is on the horizon later today. If the union has the votes to authorize it, it would be the second time in 4 years that teachers in the country's third largest school district have walked off the job. A state representative from Chicago proposing new gun legislation. Democrat Greg Harris filed the bill on Friday that would prohibit gun ownership in Illinois by people who are on the federal terrorism watch list. Meantime, a lawmaker from the Metro East area is looking to stop local governments from taxing guns and ammunition. State Representative Jerry Costello is a Democrat, filed legislation earlier this month that would stop any additional tax or charge on materials beyond the regular sales tax and stop such taxes or charges in place. Chicago sports, NFL, Washington over the Bears, NHL, Blackhawks blank Vancouver, and the news service of the Illinois Partners for Clean Air. With today's cars, idling your engine for just 10 seconds wastes more gas and money than stopping and restarting your car. Learn to breathe easy at cleantheair.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
The holidays are just around the corner, and you want your home to feel warm and inviting so that you can create a memorable experience. Before you start decorating for the season, call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning at 708-599-5151. There's still time to have your carpet, upholstery, tile, and grout cleaned before those special dinner guests arrive. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning's process is safe for your entire family. They use their own purified water and a non-toxic solution that leaves no residue, so you can rest assured you'll have a clean carpet when the kids and grandkids exchange their gifts. Want one of the best gifts this holiday season? It's Executive Green's no-risk guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, you will not pay for your service. Make your home beautiful for the holidays by scheduling now at 708-599-5151. Ask about their holiday special, 3 rooms for $139. 708-599-5151 or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure? Losing the family home? Well, you'd be not alone, so please listen to this. There are a lot of issues in a foreclosure, legal issues, factual issues. Dozens so far, and more coming to light every day. You see, people, we are in the aftermath of what will go down in history as the greatest financial crime in history, from which a lot of people profited immensely. And these people did not always do things entirely legally. That is a foregone conclusion. I'm Lou Bridges. I put together a law firm dedicated to foreclosure defense and to avoiding foreclosure by working with the banks, based on a thorough examination and analysis of all the potential issues and questions. And we have surrounded ourselves with people equally committed to this pursuit of justice.
Call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231. Or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense firm and discover the legal tools at your disposal.
8:36 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens is packed. Cicero to the junction. 30 minutes. Lycos to Montrose. Outbound 34. The Kennedy, an hour and 10 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 40 minutes from Montrose. 28 in the Express. Outbound 41 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower. An hour and 10 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. 51 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 37 minutes to Manheim. An hour and 4 minutes to Thorndale. Big delays on the extension starting around St. Charles. Stevenson, an hour and 10 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 44 minutes. The Ryan, 32 minutes. 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jam. Bryn Mawr to Fullerton. Northbound Tri-State delays 95th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington to Meacham. Reagan Tollway 22nd to the Tri-State. The Veterans Memorial from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Butterfield to St. Charles. The Army Trail toll to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy and breezy. Showers hang around this morning. Temperatures dropping throughout the day. We'll have a high near 58. That's this morning. Cooler later in the day and a low of 39 overnight. 56 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by iAppealPropertyTax.com, where it costs Cook County homeowners $0 to find out if they're overpaying. Visit iAppealPropertyTax.com.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, or hear about it from your friends, find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Amy, one of the big stories of the last year has been the College of DuPage and how it's kind of a microcosm for corruption in Illinois at the local unit of government more generally, particularly units of government that don't get a lot of scrutiny like a community college. Mm-hmm. Kathy Hamilton served on the board for 3 years. She was instrumental in helping a new board get elected, a reform-minded board, rather than a board that had been captured by the board president, Bob Bruder, who had empire built as the president of COD, taxpayers paying for his membership at a Hun Club in addition to his generous salary and benefits.
And his wine club in that restaurant.
Right, at this 3-star Michelin-rated restaurant on campus, on a community college campus. This is a mile and a half from where I grew up. And
what do you call it?
UCLA, university closest to the Lombard area. Yeah.
I love that.
And
my
then,
favorite.
and then also, Bruder they were going to name the Homeland Security building after Bob Bruder instead of, for example, Robbie Miller from Wheaton, a Medal of Honor recipient who received the Medal of Honor posthumously for his heroic action in battle.
So he robbed DuPage County for years.
Correct. And finally, because of Kathy Hamilton and a reform-minded board that they elected this past spring, you had Bob Bruder thrown out. You had the golden parachute he was going to get rescinded. You had new people coming in to provide the kind of oversight that the board should have been providing. You have investigations going on into the conduct of board president Bob Bruder. I mean, legal, like prosecutorial investigations going on at this time. And then yesterday, surprisingly, last night, came over the transom that Kathy Hamilton was resigning after 3 years on the board. She's currently the board chairman.
Yeah, why would she resign?
She said in a statement, "It's with sadness that for personal reasons I'm resigning from this board effective immediately. I've enjoyed working together with my fellow trustees to build up the strengths of COD and address its future needs." So it's kind of a pro forma statement. Here's what I think is happening.
Well, did you reach out to her first of all and ask her?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that, but here's what I think is happening. I think that she is exhausted. I think it's a thankless job without compensation, of course. This is somebody who came in as a professional. I think she's an accounting professional, came in from the outside to serve her community on this unpaid board. And it's been 3 years of the first 2 of it being the lone voice against the board that was captured by the board president. She was the only one making some of the calls that she was now able to affect once the balance of power on the board changed in April. And I think there's just a level of exhaustion and thanklessness that gets to you, particularly when you don't think change is going to come as fast as you would like it to come. And, so you get frustrated, exasperated enough to walk away. That's what a lot of people have done.
But we need strong leaders like her.
Well, I know, but this is what a lot of good people have done when it comes to the General Assembly. This is what a lot of people have done when it comes to being a resident of Illinois. They've just left altogether, packed it up, and moved somewhere more hospitable to civilization. And you're right, we do need good leaders. But here's the thing. She put in 3 years. She carried the torch. She provides an example. This is not a one-person job. You can't just say, well, Kathy's going to take care of it in perpetuity. This is the opportunity now for other people to step up, the way that you had other people step up and run that now provide the majority that Kathy Hamilton was enjoying until her resignation. And not just at COD, but at all local units of government, as well as state government. Evil succeeds where good men and women fail to do anything. And so it's incumbent upon people to look at the Kathy Hamilton example and then replicate it, step into the breach themselves. She did 3 years. That's a legitimate tour of duty, not trying to be a careerist, not trying to do the political thing to, kind of stepping stone to higher office. So somebody else pick up the baton and run with it. That's the culture we need, the cultural change we need in Illinois.
So I had no idea that they weren't paid positions. This was all volunteer.
Yeah.
To be on the chairman, to spend all that time and energy. No wonder she's exhausted.
Well,
and not to get paid for it and then have another side job.
Well, and it's the same with school boards. It's the same for the most part in municipal government as serving on the board of a municipal government. You have like minor stipends or a minor expense account, but it's nothing substantial.
Here's gas money.
Yeah, nothing substantial in most communities. And this is, where we get back to you get the representation you deserve, right? If it's always going to be this free rider problem, well, Kathy's going to do it or somebody else is going to do it or I don't want to do it. Well, good people who know better don't step into the breach to demand better and fight for better, then you get what we have in Illinois, which ain't better. And so this, to me, is a perfect segue to the Rahm recall effort.
Yeah.
Perfect segue. This throwing up our hands and saying, Rahm will never get recalled. I'm going to be a political prognosticator rather than acting in furtherance of what I think should happen. So I'm just going to predict what will happen so that I could say, well, it didn't happen. I knew it, so I'm glad I didn't waste my time. Well, the other side doesn't do that. They act in furtherance of what they want to happen, which is normally the constriction of your rights to their benefit. So if people want to play political prognosticator to rationalize their inaction, to justify their cop-out, they can do that. and then we'll continue to have the Tiny Dancers of the world run the city and the state, and the Madigans and the Cullertons run the city and the state. Your choice. And by the way, that choice, I will start with my own party, the party to which I affiliate by necessity, the Republican Party. I said it earlier in the show. I say it again. Every legislator, every Republican legislator in the House and the Senate should sign on as a co-sponsor to LaShawn Ford's legislation that would provide a recall mechanism for the city of Chicago. Every single one. There is no excuse.
Well, I reached out to 2 Republican state lawmakers. I'm not going to tell you their names, and said, where do you stand on this? Got a text back. I'm for it, but Madigan will never let it see the light of day.
Yeah, that's the cop-out. I'm not hearing it. Sign on as a co-sponsor. Get 68 Republicans in the House and the Senate to sign on as co-sponsors, beat the Democrats to the punch, and continue to put the pressure on. There are African-American community leaders that are now moving in that direction as well, that will put the pressure on Black Caucus members, that will put the pressure on Mike Madigan. This is a constituency the Democrats need to continue to be successful in Illinois. This is the opportunity for Republicans, number one, to do the right thing. That's the most important thing, and get rid of Tiny Dancer. Number two, it's to provide a true olive branch to the Black and Latino communities to say, we'll stand and fight with you. They might not. They might not. Madigan may try and bottle up in the Rules Committee, but we will stand and fight with you. Now let's get this on.
Well, they're also saying this. The same source is telling me that they haven't gotten any directive from Governor Ronner yet.
Yeah. Well, you. Here's an idea.
Be your own man.
God gave you a brain. God and the people gave you an elective position.
Mm-hmm.
Sam on the Kennedy, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hello, Dan and Amy. You know, Dan, when I heard you list that litany of stuff, and you too, Amy, about what went on with the chairman and what's going on, I throw my hands up regularly and I ask, where are the county state's attorneys? And Dan, if you want to change the state of Illinois, you know what the Republican Party should do? You guys should huddle and actually put up a good candidate for state's attorney who's going to say, hey, listen, I'm not waiting for the feds for public corruption. I am going after it. There's no reason why you have to wait. I'm not going to prosecute dope cases. I'm going to go after corruption. And you're not going to a federal prison. You're going to a state prison. An independent Cook County state's attorney who has no ties to any elected official whatsoever would probably change the state of Illinois immensely.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Sam. I don't disagree with any of that. I mean, to some extent, the way Patrick Fitzgerald is an independent U.S. attorney in Chicago. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Do I think that Madigan feels vulnerable yet? Not necessarily, but I do feel that he's feeling the pressure, because how many times have the voters of Illinois heard his horrible voice recently? He hasn't spoken publicly in, 15, 20 years, given press conferences, stood up and talked out loud. He's a kind of a behind-the-scenes evil Wizard of Oz type. And I think Rauner's putting pressure on him, and I think the gutless Republicans over there ought to huddle, get forceful, make things happen, and make Madigan and those that support him stand up and be counted publicly in the light of day, not like the political cockroaches they are running around at night doing their things.
I agree with that. Thanks for the call, Ralph. And let's also remember something else. You got a March primary. You've got a dozen Democrat state legislators that have primaries. Make this a litmus test question. I know there's a movement within the African-American community to do just that. So Republicans have some ground support on the other side for the same position. Were they willing to take it? Sean from Elmwood Park.
You know, this is why I'm down in Florida right now, and this is why I'm hedging my bets, and this is why everybody should do the same. Because it's not that we're not willing to fight. I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. It's that nobody in a position to fight is going to fight because they're complacent, because they sit on the sidelines and they know it's just their little piece of pie they want. And that is really a sign of cowardice. And this is the problem, and it's going to take somebody like Jeannie Ives, who really is one little voice in a storm of complacency. But unless we get 50 of her, you better hedge yourself and get ready to bail.
First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
The stories you need to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Thick gray clouds greeting you this morning. The rain has subsided, but the roads are still a little. Temperatures are going to be falling throughout the day. We already hit our high of 59 degrees, going to the mid-40s today. Tonight into the 30s we go, and tomorrow, Tuesday, partly sunny, cooler, a high of 44. Travel times, here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Pretty thick on the roads, too. Inbound Kennedy from Harlem to the Burn Circle. It's an hour and 7 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 37 minutes from Montrose and 28 in the Express. Outbound 40 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 30 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 34. The Eisenhower's an hour and 10 minutes from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour and 4 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 44 minutes. The Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, jammed. Braemar to Fullerton, it's 40 minutes. Hollywood to Monroe. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go. LaGrange Road to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway, big delays. Barrington Road to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, heavy approaching the Tri-State and the Veterans Memorial. Slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Roosevelt to St. Charles. And from the Army Trail Toll to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Throughout December, we're celebrating Christmas here at AM 560 by helping you build your own Christmas playlist. This month, we're offering 12 days of Christmas music when you use the AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone. And if you don't have the app, go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download it. And once you have it, just open the app. And today, our song is what, Dan?
Santa Baby by LeAnn Rimes.
Yes, which you can add to your own personal Christmas playlist, absolutely free. Thanks, Dan. And check the app again on Wednesday when the free music download on the AM 560 mobile app will be Silver Bells by Burl Ives.
I love Burl Ives.
He went to Eastern Illinois. And Merry Christmas to all of us from here at AM 560, The Answer.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
This is Amy Jacobson. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable and keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Please use the promo code Amy. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time, 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com, promo code Amy. 800-489-0201.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Santa baby,
here's your song, LeAnn Rimes. Nice. And what's nice is if you're a small business owner or if you do marketing for your company, we want to give you a great opportunity. It's called our Business Benefactor Program. With this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children, that's the charity we've partnered up with, all of the money, all of that $2,500 will go to the charity. And as a way of saying thank you, we will give you 40 60-second commercials that will run prime time right here on AM 560, The Answer. To become involved in this program, call sales manager Michael Mann. He is at his phone right now, 847-871-1527. Again, that number, 847-871-1527. All the cool kids are doing it, Dan. I mean, we have a long list now of business benefactors.
Whatever happened to LeAnn Rimes, by the way?
She's around. She's
kind of trailed off after her youthful stardom. I hope that same thing happens to Justin Bieber. Among the corporate sponsors, the business benefactors, the generous corporate citizens, responsible corporate citizens that have signed up to help us with this program, help us feed 18,000 children this holiday season, including Express Pros, North State Steel, Franciscan Outreach, Inspire Realty Partners, Lockport Steel Fabricators, Alliance Home Service, Inc., Viking Ski Shop, Air Filter Engineers, Chris Jacobs, Century 21 Affiliates, Patient MD, Grandview Capital, Automated Systems Incorporated, Access Masters, Tallgrass Restoration, and on and on and on. Thank you so much.
Yes, and if you have been thinking about advertising on radio in the past, really, this is a great way to get your foot in the door and try it out. We have a sophisticated, affluent, like-minded audience, like-minded listeners to your company, and this is a great opportunity for you. Commercials are very valuable, and this station is growing, and this is the place to be in 2016. Everyone's talking about the elections, and we're the only station in town talking politics all day, every day. So again, call Michael Mann directly, 847-871-1527.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the Mutual Fund Store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Stand by.
I want a Vermont brownie. How do I get it?
Well, this Christmas stand, you can give the people on your list the gift of holiday happiness. Rich chocolatey brownies from Vermont Brownie Company, featuring decadent flavors like dark chocolate with a touch of sea salt, buttery maple toffee, and walnut chunk. They're ridiculously good. Surprise and delight your loved ones with some of the best brownies they'll ever taste. They're baked using farm-fresh ingredients that's pure bliss in every bite. To order and save 10%, use code 2000. Your gift comes specially packaged with a free personalized gift card. What are you waiting for? To give a sweet gift for under $20, use code 2000 at checkout at vermontbrownie.com. That's 2000 is the code to save 10% at vermontbrownie.com. Christmas delivery guaranteed. Hurry, because this offer ends soon.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with the 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, You're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now it's time to put your money to work for you.
Thanks to David Stripling and Cesar Perez, and thank you for listening. We're back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Here are the stories we're watching right now. A firefighter has died in Chicago after falling through a second floor while battling a warehouse fire. More details on that. An NIU student fatally shot on the south side. An update on that developing story. And 2 hurt in a fiery Dan Ryan crash while the Bears lose to the Redskins. Cloudy skies, WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
Just like Drew Barrymore in Irreconcilable Differences.
Oh, yeah. I love Drew Barrymore. I met her once. I was coming off the Donald Trump plane, and I met Drew Barrymore at Midway Airport. Lo and behold. Oh, I hope we're not on.
Your mics are on. But
that's good. That's great.
That's in the other.
Then she got skinny, but by the time she got skinny, it was too late because she was already fat. It's too bad.
I was getting off Donald Trump's plane.
Yeah, I was getting off. I was Donald Trump's third wife. I remember meeting her.
All right, what do we do?
Debate.
Okay, good talk. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft. Let me do that again.
Do we have anything for tomorrow yet?
We do not have anything yet. Patrick Moore contacted us back. He's a good possibility for tomorrow, and then the CTU set tomorrow also for Kieran Lewis or Jesse Sharkey, one of the two.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So that means they're announcing it today.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
GOP debate pregame. Something. Debate pregame that you'll only get here. Yeah, how about that?
Okay. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
GOP presidential debate pregame that you'll only get here.
We're back at 5 a.m. 560. The Answer. What about Larry?
Larry who?
Kudrow? Kudlow, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know if Kudlow.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
GOP presidential debate pregame that you'll only get here. Still has a Saturday radio show like in LS.
Well,
but more Lewis or Sharkey, presidential talker, maybe Kudlow. Yeah, Kudlow would be good if he'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So try that.
Do we want anybody from Vegas?
I don't want a reporter. Presidential talker.
I don't know.
No, you do it. Somebody interesting.
Well, he's moderating. He's one of the
I think Byron York might be there.
Yeah, York would be good. Yeah, I don't know. We had Carney and Crystal. They so just plumb the depths of our list. All right.
All right.
Grazie.
Brutality. Prosecutors say Glenn Evans placed his gun down the throat of a suspect in 2013. A verdict in that case is expected in about 1 hour. Chicago police detectives are investigating the weekend murder of an NIU student home on winter break. Joseph Graves was gunned down Friday night while in his car in the 700 block